So you say most people believe there is something dramatically wrong in this country. They're not sure what it is.
Got your labor next to your soul, interest slave in endless hole. It's so deep you'll never leave, a text on key with no reprieve. Interest banking, future sold, paper money, fuck the gold. Print more money, there's no end, new interest rates thanks to the Fed. Inflation's up, we can't afford to import, source an endless hoard. Funding all this endless war, these the whores I must ignore. Feeling good, yeah that's my price. The system lets me have my vice. Bread and circus feels nice, feeling bad, take this advice. Just take this pill, watch TV, smoke weed and chill. Football parties, man the grill, watch some porn, drain your vril. Endless pleasure, wait until the lights go out, the lights are out. Holy fuck, the lights went out. The lights go out, the lights are out. Holy fuck, the lights went out. Never thought that this would happen, should've prepped instead of fapping. Tires screeching, people scream, living nightmare, not a dream. There goes all my dopamine, wiping off my jerk-off cream. I'm flabby, weak, unprepared to own a gun, I'm really scared. Water filters, batteries, cans of food and MREs. I really should've bought that shit before the social fabric ripped. Atomized, I'm all alone, no internet, can't scroll my phone. The lights go out, the lights are out. The lights go out. Came on, I can't believe, breathe a sigh of great relief. Boy, I love modernity, endless goon sesh never leave. If you're sad, just take this pill. Watch TV, smoke weed and chill. Football parties, man the grill. Watch some porn, join your grill. Endless pleasure, wait until the lights go out, the lights are out.
And we are live once again from an invisible sky fortress hovering over the hole into Agartha. It is the Library of Mass Destruction. I am your host, Capitalisimo, and with me, as always, is Christopher Sandbatch. How are you doing today, sir?
I am a casualty of my own fortune, of my own good fortune. I've been out in Los Angeles for the last 5 days, which is in my
Los
opinion, Angeles, Glendale to be specific. I was staying in Glendale, was in Pasadena quite a bit, went up to Malibu, quite a bit of time in Hollywood. And I have to say to our friends out there, it is my current opinion, and my opinion changes quite a bit, my current opinion that Los Angeles is not only the greatest city in this country, it may be the greatest city in the world.
Okay. You're going to have to sell me on it.
Yeah, so well, have you had the burritos?
You've have you had? Oh my God! You're doing the food though.
Well, it's a very specific type of burrito. But I was out there for some readings and some parties and to see some people who were friends of the show. And wonderful to report that they
shout out to all of our LA Jews.
Yeah. now that we've called them Jews, I don't know that we can name them, but
yeah, that's but by naming them, we have made it impossible to name them.
Yeah. But everything was great. Special thanks to our friends like Will, at the Will Agency, Adam Luz Rhine Specs. For a wonderful time. Long time friends of the show.
These fellows, of course, have their identities have been blown wide open by Rolling Stone of all.
But you know,
Rolling Stone of all things. Yeah.
The first time I met Adam, we were like, this was in a bar in New Orleans, and he was sitting next to me, and I was pretty out of it because I think I'd been working that day actually, and I didn't know
rare day, market
rare day
on the calendar.
Rare day, and I didn't know anybody. I just been like, yeah, it's like, yeah, no, come meet the gang or whatever, and I go to sit there, and there's a dude sitting next to me. He like taps me on the shoulder. That's what he calls me. He's like, Batch man. And yeah, that's how he talks, just like that. And then he starts lowering his shirt a little bit, and I'm like, oh God, where are we going here? And he's got the gold star.
Strangely enough, instead of a swastika tattoo on his pectoral, he had a Star of David necklace.
He's got a gold Star of David necklace. He's like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, yeah, I have no thought about that whatsoever, man. You're anticipating that my politics are more consistent than they are.
You're actually unable to perceive it in person.
Yes.
It's like, yeah. No, but Adam, a great friend of the show, friend of all shows, friend of Tookie's Mag, of course, from the Salad days, and a great author. You should all read his book, Mixtape Hyperborea. Have you ever read that, by the way?
Yeah, I've read it. But my favorite thing he's ever done is that Static Blue bit.
Oh my god! It's actually I couldn't finish it, and not because of any lack of quality. I couldn't finish it because it like made me feel like I was going insane.
Yeah, it's brutal, but I mean,
it was so affecting that I wanted to peel the skin off my own skull.
Right. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of that kind of thing. I love peeling skin off my skull. I like media.
I could tell that about you.
Yeah. I like media that's forward looking. Because he's so young. He's like 10 years younger than me. I always forget that I'm kind of old now, but he's like one of the real talents in the generation that's like behind us. I guess I would say
that's true. That's true. He's technically young enough to be my son. If I had struck home during my dalliance with a lady of the tribe.
Yeah. So long story short, I found myself leaving Los Angeles at midnight last night, stumbling through TSA with some like maybe not quite things that I should have. And this is like one of the wonderful things about California is like the TSA, and I'm like trying to get through TSA. TSA flags my shit. Okay. And I'm like,
obviously,
I'm like, oh God, here we are. I'm going to jail. And then like, they pull everything out one item at a time.
You're lucky best.
They pull out the joint, which is one that I'll admit that I had. I bought a joint and I just didn't smoke it. So I shoved it in my bag. And then there was a small bag of another thing that maybe you're not supposed to have in California. And then they just looked at it and they were like, you're not supposed to have this bottle of peroxide. And then they showed me my bottle of peroxide for my gingivitis. And they were like, this could be turned into a bomb on the airplane. And they handed everything else back to me when it got on the plane.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Well, I'm glad you weren't arrested, but I think you should have been.
I love California. California is the Garden of Eden. But I say the long story short is I was flying all night, and then I got back, and I knew we had to do the show tonight, and I figured still awake is probably better than on 3 hours sleep because then I'd be all groggy. So I haven't slept. I'm jet lagged.
Dude,
jet lagged and tired.
I took a 20-minute power nap right before the show.
I've never been able to do that.
Oh, dude, you have to cut it off. You have to cut it at 20 minutes. It's got to be exactly 20 minutes. Because if you go any longer, then you start getting the grogs, and if it's shorter, then you're not going to actually lose consciousness at all.
So there's a strong possibility I will have no idea what we're even doing tonight. Again, I don't remember where we were, but I think we are going to finish the project. We're going to finish this book tonight. I think.
I don't think so. Think so. We might. It'll be a narrow thing if we do. Actually, a narrow thing to finish it would be better than. Then a narrow thing to finish it would be much better than having like a little dribble.
A dangle, yeah, a
Yeah, a
dangling
dangle.
proposition.
We've been very lucky thus far in terms of the length of the pieces we have read. So, yeah. So I guess there's I hope everyone had a happy Halloween. I stayed home and had exactly one trick-or-treater that was incredibly gay. But
Was it like an older dude? How could you tell he was gay?
No. It was gay to only get one trick or
You
treat.
know, I didn't, because I mean I wasn't in New Orleans. I was out in Los Angeles. There didn't seem to be a lot of people. Well, I mean, good Lord, you know, I didn't exactly encounter a lot of children while I was out there. But my sense is that trick or treating is a thing.
They weren't those kinds of Jays.
Yeah. But my sense is that trick or treating is a thing. I never did it when I was a kid, you know, because satanic panic and like I was like, yeah, I never really did it much.
You never trick or treated as a child?
No, I didn't have birthday parties either. I'm not really a holiday guy. I do celebrate holidays, but they're weird holidays like Michaelmas and like St. George's Day.
God damn it! I can see why you get along with John D.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's tragic, Sandbatch. I gotta say,
when I rented my car, you know where the first place I went in Los Angeles was?
The Chinese theater.
No, pretty fucking close though. I used Turo and I rented it out of Hollywood, and I was like, oh man, I'm really close. Gunned that son of a bitch straight to the Hollywood Hills and went to like the exact spot where the car crash scene was filmed in Mulholland Drive. And what an actually beautiful sight! Because I mean, it was night. I got in late, and it was a beautiful night. And it was
when you said that, I was like, oh, what'd you go to Roman Polanski's house to see where the Manson murders happened?
No, I didn't do as much like trick because I didn't really do as much of that sort of thing as I kind of thought I was going to do. Went out to the Pacific Coast Highway the last day I was there, and I was posting pictures from it yesterday. They were beautiful. Pacific Ocean. But when I see the Pacific Ocean, I'm always like, it's like I was actually telling the person I was with, I was like, I can tell I'm driving north on the Pacific Coast Highway, and intuitively I feel like the ocean is on the wrong side. But the Pacific is beautiful. It's got this like mesmerizing quality. It's like, oh, this is the end. This is the end, you know.
My dearest friend, the end.
Yeah.
I have to admit that I'm more of a, like, if I was going to pick a part of California, I would definitely pick Northern California.
I mean, I love San Francisco too, but like San Francisco is just absolutely
no. I mean, like Northern.
Oh, like
California,
like in the free state of Jefferson,
like Gualala.
Yeah. Mount Shasta.
Yeah, like I want to have a reasonable worry of encountering a Wendigo.
Well, you know, speaking of that, I had a moment one of the nights where I was sitting on a swing between two women, and you know, I have a theory about American Civils. I believe there are 10 American Civils, and I believe I was sitting on a swing between two of them. And I'll tell you who one of them is. It's our
So when you say you think there are 10 American Civils, you mean like you are thinking of specific women?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know that they're always the same woman, but there's like,
okay.
There are 10 places in America that have there are 9 places in America that have a bound Sybil, and I think one place is missing its Sybil. So yeah.
Okay.
Is that worth spooling out a bit? Is that worth spooling out a bit? Yeah. So I think Death Valley, Mount Shasta, Standing Rock, the Hill Country, the Badlands, New Orleans, Appalachia, the Everglades all have bound Civils. And then
absolutely insane that there are none in the Midwest.
Well, and then the Badlands is kind of in the Midwest.
I got really read the riot act by a lot of people when I said that the Midwest had ownership of the Plains states.
No,
though they
totally
were not
does.
actually. What?
It totally does.
I know it does.
But no,
Yeah.
and then the theory is that New England and that like upper area, that's the area that's missing its Sybil.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I have to say that I think that there are numerous places that the Ozarks and the Driftless area both deserve.
The Driftless area is a place that I don't know much about and I've never been to, but I would very much like to visit.
If you ever go there, I highly recommend you visit Taliesin, and you will. I know you're not a Frank Lloyd Wright respecter,
No, I
but
totally am. No, I mean,
oh wait,
I
who was it who didn't fucking like him?
don't
Anyway,
know. Like, I don't think we would be doing a show together if I was not. Like, you would like block me.
I would not. I'm not like that. But yeah, no. But you will see why Frank Lloyd Wright chose that region to build Taliesin, aside from his family connection.
Is
But
it the Driftless area? That's where? Have you ever seen that movie Wisconsin Death Drive?
I have not. Although
Yeah,
that sounds like a drive time movie night selection.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of old for drive time movie night. It would be fun. It would be fun.
But yeah, the Driftless region is where the glaciers never reached, and so it lacks the geological feature called drift, which is sort of scattered boulders and gravel. So it has all of these like fairly steep hills that are not bedrock. They're just hills. It's old river land.
Right.
That was never ground down by the.
There's a couple of pockets of America. They're very cool, and I was lobbying. I was telling people they need to be added as national parks, because like there are some places, and it's usually the New River Valley in Virginia is a similar one. It was not affected by the Ice Age, and so there's like, because these like they're temperate ecosystems. They don't change very much, and so 13,000 years isn't very much for them. And so we have these little pockets of like areas where the ecosystems actually have these like pre-Ice Age like species in them still. And there's these tiny little pockets. I suspect the Driftless area is one of them. New River Valley is one of them. The Ozarks are one of them. And then there's a bunch of them. They're the Sky Islands in Arizona are another set of places like that. And they're very cool because like the flora and fauna that you find, not so much the fauna, because even the bugs. Yeah, I mean, the Carter's blue butterflies in the Driftless region. But the flora and fauna that you find there is different than in the immediately surrounding areas, because they didn't have these like cataclysmic events that uprooted
sheltered areas. Yeah. Where they could survive. Yeah. Well, this is unfortunately not an American geography show, although I guess we have gone over. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to look at. You know what? We might. You want to do missing 411, and we can talk about boulder fields.
It's totally true. And I mean, you kind of stuck with me a little bit that way, because like despite the poetry and everything, my brand is Ecologica Americana.
Yeah. Yep, we got you. But let's continue our read of The Spectacle of the False Flag by Eric Wilson. We are getting into we're going to get into the media like the actual specific media analysis in this. Hence the title. Hence our thumbnail down to Lilo.
And Gio could smell it coming, and I see him here,
as he often can.
Yeah.
a Canadian power. Wayne Static, by the way, Static X. I know, Gio. I know you're a nu metal fan. Static X is just about the only nu metal band that I liked.
I don't even know what nu metal is.
Like rap, or early 2000s rap rock.
Gio, by the way, did some theory selling either yesterday or today or this morning today that was so intense I couldn't follow him. That's like your bait's in the deep end, and like some ungodly primordial creatures sniffing around it. If I can't parse your theory selling,
can't parse the theory sell. Okay, I can't diagram this.
Yeah.
All right. The situation of mass media. The world is going to ruin. Man's feeling of superiority triumphs in the expectation of a spectacle to which only contemporaries are admitted. I don't know who Karl Kraus is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Perhaps we will find out. Perhaps we will find out.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Geo is now typing Antifa dog whistles in the chat.
Bella Chow.
All experts serve the state and the media, and only in that way do they achieve their status. So true, King. So true.
Based in Yarvin Pill.
But I guess DeBoard said that in the 70s. So
yeah. Like, when I'm always going like, I mean, Yarvin is just really, he's just like a new sprite pack for a lot of old leftist theory. But yeah.
Hey man, you got to buy the cosmetics. True real gamers know. Although DeBoer does not actually reduce the spectacle to mass media, the instruments and channels of mass communication have emerged as the uncontested arena for the staging of both the spectacle and any possible situation. Rather than talk of the spectacle, people often prefer to use the term media, and by this they mean to describe a mere instrument, a kind of public service, which with impartial professionalism would facilitate the new wealth of mass communication through the mass media. So yeah, exactly. So they want, they're talking about something that has a discrete and instrumental purpose,
which is that's
not mediums, right? But
formally the definition of technology, by the way.
Well, I mean, yeah.
In this theoretical context, that's the definition of technology.
Of all technology, right? The cultural truth of mass media within the society of the spectacle is fundamentally identical with Jameson's notion of the political unconscious as social totality. For the final sense of the integrated spectacle is this, that it has integrated itself into reality to the same extent that as it was describing it, and that it was reconstructing it as it was describing it. So yeah. But that makes sense because that's what
I do have to point. I don't like Frederick Jameson, and I don't like the idea of sort of integrated constructions that like sort of displace this concept of the real or reality or something like that. I think it's a little bit of a cop out.
I don't think he's necessarily saying that it replaces the concept of reality. In the same sense, it like he is saying that the spectacle is what is actually being perceived rather than reality. It's fully intermediated.
Obscures the ground of the real is the
yeah. You stand upon conditioned ground. Let's see. To test the validity of this hypothesis, I will now examine several of the key depictions of two of my spectacular events, JFK Dallas and Nixon Watergate, as media events. I will ignore the third false flag, LBJ Tonkin, precisely because it has not been the object of either literary or cinematic representation, a telling historical omission that no doubt reflects that spectacle's status as a thoroughly proven conspiracy, since it is completely known it cannot serve as an example of the parapolitical sublime that acts in the indispensable aesthetic conceit of the conspiracy text.
Now that I just want to point out, he's doing an Angloism inside of Frenchism is what he's doing here, and I don't know quite what to think about this. So like he's like giving us this giving us a null hypothesis is what he's done here. And oh, by the way, Gio says he isn't saying it replaces reality as such, but it's the mechanism that people gravitate to the most. I'll probably maybe augment. I agree mostly with what you're saying there, but I would caution that these sort of theoreticians will tend to posit a total eclipse, which is what Nick Land will eventually describe as a disguised idealism.
Nick Land had a very good tweet last night where he was quoting someone as saying, becoming a religious ideologue is the only way to make sense of reality today.
Yeah, he was on fire. He was on fire this morning.
Yeah, that was a really good one. But it's true, and it's because there's the spectacle has kind of been there is not at present a singular spectacle, right? We can't say that there is a singular spectacle. Unless, of course, the spectacle is actually emergent, which I think is contrary to the thesis here. But there's no singular spectacle, and so if you're just set to be a passive receiver of information, like most people, I'm not saying that I'm immune to this, but a lot of people will passively receive information in a very canny way, right?
Yeah, this is true.
And so if those people are not are doing that, they will become confused and frustrated and reactive. But if you want to make sense of reality, you have to cleave to like one signal, and it kind of doesn't matter what that signal is. You're going to be better equipped than if you were simply receiving the conflicting noise.
Right. Now, Geo taps on again. Jameson's thesis of the destruction of high and low culture basically predicted prole drift. This is true, and this is one of the things where I always like to point out.
What is prole drift? Hold on. What's prole drift?
We talked about it last week.
Refresh me.
I actually can't remember, but now Gio's going to give us a short definition of prole drift, but
he's not going to give us he has never given anyone a short anything.
But I would also point out that this is a really interesting, that all of these, when we're talking about situations and when we're talking about Baudrillard, this is like the French trajectory of sort of understanding what are ultimately the same bundle of concepts. There's a separate German one that's Koselleck and the multi-temporal thesis. There are a lot of different convergent postmodernist genealogies that are essentially using different vocabularies to describe more or less the same thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's also worth pointing out that, the narcissism of small differences is not necessary, because at this point, the granular distinctions do start to matter a little bit. And the reason I'm bitchy about this is because I personally belong to a specific one, and that's the sort of trajectory that comes out of the Macy conferences and neuroscience and all of that terrible. What are these English psychologists? What do they want?
R. Scott Baker.
Shit. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and that I think it's probably really important that because ultimately this sort of integrated spectacle, or this sort of multi-dimensional spectacle, I use that term de-dimensionalization all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That this is my personal concept of what MK Ultra is today is what he's describing. Whenever I talk about MK Ultra, I'm not necessarily talking about just the very narrow declassified documents. I'm talking about a thing that wasn't
heritage. Yes, the heritage of MK Ultra's the heritage of MK Ultra's technology. It was combined and synthesized with management of spectacle, right?
Yeah,
which is a separate technology, which was then joined together. Right.
Yeah.
Geo offers in the chat. Prole drift is when the weaning middle and even upper middle classes adopt behavioral styles and hobbies of the lower classes because actual high culture is too walled off and expansive and high status for average people who are just well off. Like slap becomes consumer chic. He did not want to say neoliberal kish.
Yeah. He's avoiding it right now. Everyone can have a labubu. Okay, yeah, this is exactly what I refer to as de-dimensionalization. So these are different trajectories with slightly different granularities. And one of the things that's really difficult is that American theorists, not just American theorists, I think Eric Wilson is Australian, or he at least teaches at an Australian university. Anglosphere, this has been a problem in academic texts like this, really for the last 15 or 20 years. Because Anglosphere theoreticians, Anglosphere scholars tend to work in much more modular units, so you can go grab another Anglosphere. Like it's quite literally modularity. If you're familiar with computer programming, it's the same concept. We need to be able to like Dockerize this one very specific concept and then abstract it across a wider array of domains. That tendency will sometimes lead Anglosphere scholars to go grab continental language, especially structuralists and post-structuralists, and that's definitely what we're dealing with here. It will cause them to go grab little bits and pieces of continental theory and try to import this like very limited portion of the vocabulary or the semantics, and it creates quite a bit of destability because these continental systems are not nearly as modular. Okay. And so like whenever I'm always complaining about things, like when I complain about words that people use, because I'm like, to me, whenever you go grab just this one little bit of like a French or a German theorist and you import it into like an Anglospheric framework, you're actually bringing over a lot more metaphysics than you're aware of. And these are like very like
you carry a bunch of weird baggage with it that doesn't necessarily comport.
Right.
With,
Yeah.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind whenever I'm talking from here on out.
Whenever I'm
speaking, yeah.
The unknown quantity of private criminality, Libra. That's only fitting because in this city at this particular time, black is white is black. In other words, people are playing havoc with the categories. Don DeLillo, Libra. Don DeLillo mentioned. Yes.
What is people playing havoc with the categories sound like, by the way?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What's the first D?
I would probably say de-dimensionalization if you're playing.
No.
But you're actually saying debility?
That's exactly. So it's like neurobiologically.
Oh, sure.
Lower and linguistically fucking
people committing category errors or believing that they have committed a category error is often quite distressing.
Yes.
Which is a little weird. Speaking of category errors, when you know how AI, how large language models have that it's not X, it's Y thing. That is, so like when you ask a large language model to generate something, it will often fall back to these certain like cliched formations of things. Yeah. So it will say it is not X, it's Y, right?
Yeah.
Which is an attempt to manipulate categories. Right?
Well, it is that. Okay, and that's linguistically in like Indo-European linguistics in Latin. It's a non solum sed etiam construction is what that's called. And wow, we're just jumping right into it today, I guess. But what causes that is the way autoregressive large language models work is that they're using vector calculus to predict each token one at a time. And what happens is like if you give large, this is one of the ways people go like kind of use them incorrectly. If you give them a kind of wedge issue, they don't handle wedge issues well, because like wedge issues like sort of create like little like solution gradient wells and cause their token prediction to start going a little goofy. So it's not a really great way to use one. That's like, because it's like one of the ways you can get these things to fuck up. But yeah, that's sort of exactly what they're doing in that sense. There's a mechanism for it. There's a reason they're like that.
Okay. We are going back to Don DeLillo's Libra, which it is the official position of this show that the JFK assassination happened exactly as Don DeLillo wrote.
This is basically a show about Don DeLillo as well.
It is kind of about Don DeLillo. Yeah, it is. It is. It's somewhat strange. Sandbatch, I kind of think that you should never read Libra, and you should just absorb Libra from exposure to quotes in the books that we are reading.
You're so postmodern. That's like you're one of the most postmodern people I've ever met.
I
In the
take
lit
that as
sense.
I take that as an insult.
No, I
but
don't mean
also
it
a
that way.
compliment.
Yeah, I don't mean it as an insult at all.
Yeah, no, it is true. I am interested in. We're all structuralists nowadays, aren't we? Aren't we, guys?
No, I mean this is the thing that makes Sandbatchism a little strange. Is I'm a relatively uncontaminated modernist.
An unreconstructed Southerner.
I'm not that. I'm not. Okay, that I'm actually not. But I am in like since like there was a tweet that was going around last night. Actually, it was like, oh, some woman was complaining about dudes that like think Cormac McCarthy, Thomas Pynchon, Don DeLillo were the greatest ever, but haven't kept up with literature since then or whatever. And I'm like, joke's on you. My cutoff is like 1950. You know,
right? Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm relative, except for like French theory, I'm relatively unpolluted with the like aesthetic postmodernism is kind of a black box to me. I don't really understand it that well.
Yeah, there are like yeah, I mean, haven't you read the latest immigrant autofiction from a brown woman? Haven't you?
I mean, dude,
haven't you read Rachel Ogobu Boom Poob? Like, haven't you read her?
Like,
Haven't you read Yasmin Erikambi Bamba Baba Bao?
No, I've read some of the newer Southern writers, and they're universally garbage. But my undergraduate degree is in literature, but I didn't ever take a contemporary course. I quite specifically focused on the early 20th century, and I never went past that. So I'm like literally a fucking modernist. Like I'm like frozen in amber in a really strange way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, Marbly Man, epic crossover academia. Yeah.
Sex Freakman says Sandy be like I'm the LGBT without the Q. Damn.
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 You're just the G for government agent.
My pronouns are modernist.
Modernist. You're taxonomizing the taxonomy.
Yeah.
The most striking thing about Don DeLillo's Libra from 1988, by far the most artful postmodern novel ever written about conspiracy, with the possible exception of Thomas Pynchon's The Crying of Lot 49. Eric Wilson, one of us.
Oh my god! See, like, and I'm eye rolling is what I'm doing.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I mean, I'm not okay. I don't know that. Okay, like to me, by far the most artful. What does that even mean, Eric? First of all, okay, and like
artful postmodernist novel ever written about a conspiracy. Okay,
this
yeah,
is
that
why
is kind of a lot of qualifiers.
This is why these people drive me crazy. Is because they'll be like, "There's no such thing as certainty. Art is art is a total subjectivity." And then the most striking thing about that, by far the most artful postmodernist novel. So like this is why I like postmodernism makes me nervous, because there's a fallback on modernist foundation there, which is the idea, which is the unexamined assumption that art is a thing, that art has any objectivity to it. So he falls back on an objectivity here. This drives me insane. Okay, like if you're gonna commit to the bit, bro, you're better off. And this is how you get on autofiction, by the way.
He made a hierarchy.
This is how you, exactly. This is how you get autofiction, because if we abandon this possibility of art, okay, then the only thing there is left to say is, I like this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And so your own subjectivity becomes the only subject.
Library of Mass Destruction is now a vlogging channel.
It's that damn, I've done it. Oh my god! So this is like right out of the gate. Like we're not. I'm sorry.
Okay. By far the most artful postmodern novel ever written about conspiracy, with the possible exception of Thomas Pynchon's Crying of Lot 49, is the uncanny manner in which it inhabits the landscape of the grotesque as first essayed by Kaiser. It is, in fact, that sentence did get worse as it went on. It is, in fact, the perfect literary exemplar of two of the three signs of the grotesque. The first is the grotesque as the estranged world. It is our world which has to be transformed. Suddenness and surprise are essential elements of the grotesque. The second is the grotesque as a play with the absurd, signified by the operational hegemony of determinism, natural or otherwise, and the concomitant manipulation of reality by occult forces. The unity of perspective in the grotesque consists in an unimpassioned view of life on Earth as an empty, meaningless puppet play or a caricatural marionette theater. Although ostensibly about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the novel is in fact a literary free-for-all, with the defining tropes of the genre of the crime novel defined by Tony Hilfer in the following manner. The central and defining feature of the crime novel is that in itself, self and world, guilt and innocence are problematic. The world of the crime novel is constituted by what is problematic in it. A crime novel maneuvers its reader into various forms of complicity, managing to subvert the reassurances of the detective novel by putting the signification process into doubt or even exploiting the gap between socially accepted signification and ultimate reality. Sandbatch.
Okay, so yeah,
Are you parsing or frustrated?
I'm like trying. I'm doing several things at once because I'm also trying to catch up a little bit. So this is Wolfgang Kaiser's Das Grotesk in Mari und Dichtung, and that's translated out of filthy language as the grotesque in art and literature. It's one of the defining texts in 20th century aesthetics. Which, see, again, to me, this is directly competitive with the Well-Rotter and also with the Toronto School and Northrop Frye, which is like sort of like where I come from. I don't really like Marshall McLuhan that much, but it represents a kind of culmination. It's like, listen to how perfectly, if you know anything about me, listen how perfectly designed this is to explode in my face. It represents a kind of culmination of German romantic and modernist thinking about the uncanny, the absurd, and the monstrous in art. If there's anything I hate more than Germans, it's German romanticism. German romanticism is, in fact, the reason I don't like Germans. Okay, so this is
interesting.
This is, to me, all of the things that I hate, that I specifically disagree with, rolled into one book. But the language of what the grotesque is, we're still working with that, because the sort of divergence in the semantics is 20 or so years after the Gothic is theorized. So we use the same words here.
Yep. So the world is transformed, but the world is transformed. So it's transfigured, but it is also meaningless. So it's empty. It's empty, and it's purely surface level, but the surface is changing in ways.
Yeah, I mean that's
unfamiliar.
That's what romantic nihilism is.
Yep. Consistent with its narrative foregrounding of the liminal and the nomadic, the crime novel adopts a strictly anti-representational approach to language and reason, in which the ontologically privileged is not sameness, but difference. As a result, to the degree that the crime novel puts the signification process into doubt or even exploits the gap between the socially accepted signification and ultimate reality, it subverts the reassurances of the detective novel, which, by contrast, is ultimately predicated upon the intelligibility of both world and self. The postmodernist implications of crime fiction has perhaps been most thoroughly explored by Baudrillard in his seminal essay entitled, not surprisingly, The Perfect Crime, from 1996.
So let me actually go off here for a bit again, because we're inexplicably directly in my particular niche of this is stuff that I write about. This my most recent Substack is about similar stuff to this. So first of all, I would like to say that we should really drag T.R. Hudson out of wherever he is right now and bring him in here and read him that paragraph, because he and I have a long running discussion about the difference between noir and spy fiction. And if you take another friend of ours, ATPG, you know, who I was on a space with him once, and we were talking about the origin of genre, and he posited that, like, you know, there has to be an origin point, and that a genre first expresses itself as a philosophy and then only later as a genre. And so, like, in a sense, the person who invents the genre can't be said to actually be writing in that genre. It was just a very interesting distinction. But in the case of what Hudson and I are talking about, we would be referring to like crime fiction and spy fiction, or spy fiction and noir as separate types of crime fictions, which would mean that from crime fictions they inherit an eigenvector set of immutable qualities. Okay, is the way that would be described. But another thing that's worth pointing out is, again, this connection to romanticism. And I'm always pointing out the connections between postmodernism and romanticism. And I don't mean this in a good way, actually. But the first person who are the first really known detective story writers? Who are the first that you can think of?
Honestly, that's not really a genre that I've ever been into.
Okay, so it's Edgar Allan. Edgar Allan Poe,
okay,
and Charles Dickens. Okay, and Marxism itself also comes out of an exploration of what exactly is the criminal, because like the hinge.
Conan Doyle. I guess Conan Doyle would have been later.
Much later. So like the Mystery of Edwin Drood in the 60s was Dickens, and Murders in the Rue Morgue from Edgar Allan Poe, usually considered the first murder mystery. Okay, and because with crime goes along this element of the uncanny. Okay, and so you often find these things that are emerging, they're going to form themselves into the criminal elements. So what is a criminal? Frankenstein's monster is a criminal. Okay. Frankenstein is a monster because he's transgressed against
Mary Shelley was the first originator of the lab leak hypothesis.
Right. I mean, there's that, but I mean, what is he formally doing? Like in the past, this would have been referred to as demonic, but it's sort of effervesced into this concept of the uncanny, or that which transgresses, that which is unexpected, and posits this ideal barrier across which things go from being received as normal or received as anomalous, with this negative, with this whole bundle of emotions that we refer to as the uncanny. God, I'm doing a lot of genealogies tonight, but this is stuff that I'm writing about right now. So it's relevant, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to run away.
Sex Freakman, associating crime with the uncanny is maybe the most Enlightenment Protestant thing I've ever heard.
What I mean, this is exactly.
I really like reading old criminological and psychological books. I mean, I guess again, just reminder that this book is technically supposed to be criminology, but old criminological texts are like, what causes crime? And the question is it's posed in a way that is very alien.
Yeah.
Right. Very alien, because it's what causes people to transgress? You wouldn't just say, well, they probably fucking want money or something.
And contemporary to this book, to the era this book is talking about, who is the chief inheritor of that particular literary tradition?
Go for it.
We've read one of his papers on this show.
Oh, you think it's Jolyon West?
Jolyon West asks this particular kind of question. And again, Freakman is right. Okay, when he says this is an Anglosphere, this is a serious Anglosphere Protestant perspective. Because this quite literally is what we're doing, is we're taking this romantic literature concept, and we're modularly inserting it into a whole other set of Anglo theory, and that's literally the way our system is designed to run. So yeah, I mean that's exactly what we're doing, is we're inserting like literary theory into this population management program. And if you're looking for things, how is the spectacle assembled? What is the narrative of the spectacle? And that's why that's why we've seen these thespians like David Atlee Phillips and all these people show up, because, and I think I said something about it earlier when we were talking.
Because it really has always been theater kid occupied government.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. The perfect crime is that of unconditional realization of the world by the actualization of all data, the transformation of all our acts and all events into pure information. In short, the final solution, the resolution of the world ahead of time by the closing of reality and the extermination of the real by its double. So that is the spectacle, right?
Yeah.
So that is the spectacle where you can literally you can get away with anything so long as you control the perception of everything.
Yeah.
As we should expect, Libra is the literary drama that enacts Baudrillard's radically anti-humanist anthropology. The main narrative conceit of this conspiracy text is that Dealey Plaza was the, in part, unintentional outcome of a series of overlapping network linkages between retired and middle-level CIA officers and American paramilitaries who were operating small teams of Cuban snipers. Apart from Lee Harvey Oswald himself, the three main protagonists are disguised literary composites of historical actors. Walter Everett Jr., who is really Richard Bissell, innovator of the U-2 spy plane program and director of planning for Zapata. Lawrence Parmenter, a hybrid of Tracy Barnes, Bissell's assistant director of plans for the Cuba Project, and Theodore, aka the Blonde Ghost, Shackley, director of JM Wave. We have a footnote here that spills onto the next page, which we will read after the sentence is over. And T.J. Mackey, a synthesis of CIA case officer Grayston Lynch and paramilitary mercenary William, a.k.a. Rip, Carlos Alligator, and Tinka Robertson. Now the footnote off JM Wave. There is, in fact, a partial overlap between Everett Bissell and Parmenter Shackley. DeLillo has it that it was Everett who was putting people in his own into Zenith Technical Enterprises, based on the University of Miami campus in the early 1960s, the burgeoning Miami firm that provided cover for the CIA's new wave of operations against Cuba. It would be doing DeLillo's extraordinary novel disservice by treating it as a literal reconstruction of the secret history of JFK Dallas, the moral conceit that ultimately destroys Stone's bombastic JFK. The novel's real significance, as I will show, lies in its sophisticated application of Debordian discourse.
Okay, again, here, this is a perfect example. We're going to talk about postmodern aesthetics. This is a perfect example of, okay, so what have we done here? We've taken a number of different persons, okay, right?
Combine them.
We've combined them. So what is that? What is that? By definition, what the fuck is that?
Synthesis?
No, it is
what?
Ideally a synthesis. That's an idealism.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a de-dimensionalization. You had more people.
Yep. You had more people. Now you have less. You have collapsed them into each other. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And this has always been done, but here it's being done very self-consciously. And there's very self-consciously the possibility of missing information, crossover information, that sort of thing, this reduction. And if you think about this in real terms, what is this? If you think about this in network terms, this is a transformation of a matrix, one from a larger matrix into a smaller matrix. And we're like assuming that
you're also confusing node connections.
Well,
inherently,
maybe you are, maybe you aren't. What you really lose is your ability to discern whether or not you muddy your ability to discern whether or not something is signal or static. Okay. And this is one of the reasons why I'm skeptical. This is another reason why I'm skeptical of postmodernism, because I think it takes naively, I think it assumes naively that these de-dimensionalizations are possible, or not that they're possible, or that they're uniformly good, or that they assume that we have some, there's a disguised idealism in here as well, where there's this implicit assumption that we can discern signal from noise as a result of these like sort of like large dimensional reductions. But of course, like, and Don DeLillo as a postmodernist, he's absolutely playing with what is that missing vector in his own meta narrative. That's what he's doing here. And that's something you could say that's what artists do, is they articulate the situation, and I'm using the situation formally here. That's what they do. And so this is why this is such a great playground for somebody like Eric Wilson. I'm talking a lot again. I'm sorry.
Of course, Wendy painting PhD. Everybody should read Libra. So,
well, it's except me, apparently.
Except you. You should not read Libra, just because I need you to not.
Yeah.
So, let's see. It is Everett Bissell artfully doubling as a pseudo parody of mainstream conspiracy theory, who announces the grand strategy of the false flag. The movement, the Cuba Project, needs to be brought back to life. These operations the agency is running out of the keys are strictly pinpricks. We need an electrifying event. JFK is moving towards settling the differences with Castro. On the one hand, he believes the revolution is a disease that could spread throughout Latin America. On the other, he's denouncing guerrilla raids and trying to brigade members into joining the U.S. Army. Where someone can keep an eye on them, if we want a second invasion, a full-bore attempt this time, without restrictions or conditions, we have to do something soon. We have to move the Cuban matter past the edge of all these sweet maneuvers. We need an event that will excite and shock the exile community, the whole country. We know Cuban intelligence has people in Miami. We want to set up an event that will make it appear that they have struck at the heart of our government. This is a time for high risks. I'm saying be done with half measures, be done with evasion and delay. Some things we wait for all our lives without knowing it. And then it happens and we recognize at once who we are and how we are meant to proceed. This is the idea I've always wanted. We wanted to set up an attempt on the life of the president. Plan every step, design every incident leading up to the event. We put together a team, leave a dim trail. The evidence is ambiguous, but it points in the Cuban intelligence directorate. Inherent in the plan is a second set of clues, even more unclear, more intriguing. These point to the agency's attempt to assassinate Castro. I'm designing a plan that includes elements of both the American provocations and the Cuban reply. We script a person or persons out of ordinary pocket litter. Shots ring out. The country is shocked, aroused. The paper trail leads to paid agents who have disappeared in Venezuela and Mexico. I'm convinced this is what we have to do to get Cuba back. The plan has levels and variations I've only begun to explore, but it's already essentially right. I feel its rightness. I know what scientists mean when they talk about elegant solutions. This plan speaks to something deep inside me. It has powerful logic. I felt it unfolding for weeks like a dream whose meaning slowly becomes apparent. This is the condition we've always wanted to reach. It's the life insight, the life secret, and we have to extend it and guard it carefully, right up to the time we have shooters stationed on a rooftop or a railroad bridge. And there was a silence, and then Parmenter said dryly, "We couldn't hit Castro, so let's hit Kennedy. Wonder if that's the hidden motive here. But we don't hit Kennedy. We miss him," Wynn said. Man, that's a good fucking book. I want to reread it.
I mean, now they're getting blue balls about it. Now I do want to read it. That was actually, the aesthetics there are good. That's actually just pretty good writing.
Yeah. Don DeLillo, a pretty good writer. it's what people have said.
Well, they say that about it. I'm famously not the biggest Pynchon guy. I know you are not as good. I know you love Thomas Pynchon. I'm not the biggest fan of Thomas Pynchon.
You can't miss the pinch, man. But it's fine. We have different tastes. We have different tastes. Yeah. It's fine. You're tearing my heart out, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
In classic noir fashion, oh yeah, we had a gigantic fucking footnote here. DeLillo, the notion of the shooter deliberately missing JFK or merely wounding him is, of course, completely consistent with the false flag scenario offered by both DeLillo and myself. He is a plot device, me as a criminological hypothesis. The minimal requirement for a successful false flag was public spectacle of parapolitical significance, though JFK's death may have served as the guarantee of the desired outcome, plus payback. I confess to a personal fondness for a theory propounded by the television series Quantum Leap. Wow, he gets spicy in the footnotes, doesn't he?
I'm
I'm retarded.
definitely.
I'm retarded.
He's got like I can the ponytail. Like I can see him. No offense to you guys, I can see he's playing Magic the Gathering with history right now.
Oh no! Oh no! He's playing. We're all just playing with dolls on the internet, fellas.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap, that Oswald's intended target was Jackie Kennedy. Fitting this into the false flag scenario, we can speculate that the president's grief at the loss of First Lady would provoke a homicidal rage against Castro. This theory has two advantages. Firstly, it is consistent with a series of complaints that Oswald made several weeks prior to Dealey Plaza concerning alleged FBI harassment of his Russian emigre wife, Marina, raising the possibility of Jackie as the payback. Secondly, it would confirm Oswald's reputation as a terrible marksman and his Mannlicher Carcano rifle as a pathetic weapon. He was gunning for Jackie, but kept hitting Jack.
I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, this is welcome to San Francisco rationalism.
I do like that. If I was going to make the cringe reference to pop culture in this one, I would mention the episode of White Dwarf, where they go back in time and JFK is not they save JFK from being assassinated. He turns out to be a terrible president. The world is on the verge of World War III. And they take him back and have him assassinate himself in order to save the world. And so that's the real explanation.
I mean, this is possible because of these de-dimensionalizations again. So like aesthetically, what you're doing is you're opening up. So like, yeah, what are the possible dimensional? Yes, because what you have is you have a result matrix and you have like one of the two necessary input matrices. Okay. And you're like, okay, so what is the missing vector? What is the X vector that creates the possible, like multiple possible things that could go from what the information you have to the information you don't have. Right. Now it's like, okay, what if
you're just fucking back testing a market prediction algorithm, so yes. It doesn't fucking work.
Yes. Well, I mean, it works in books. It doesn't work in real life. Yeah. Right.
You could I fucking guarantee you, if you turned that Quantum Leap plot into a Netflix style documentary, and I'm you can't see me, but I'm using scare quotes on documentary, right?
Yeah.
One of those one of those schlocky documentaries that will convince only the most gullible of people. This is like the insidiousness of calling something nonfiction, but you could get people, right. you could get people believing that instantaneously. People would love that, right? No problem.
Yeah.
And then let's see. In classic noir fashion, which the novel is very much a knowing parody of, a fly in the ointment soon and unexpectedly emerges. The more that operational control is conferred to the low-level Mackey, who begins to move towards the Cubans, and the cipher-like Leon Oswald, who functions throughout the novel as an inverted double of JFK. Here's the list of JFK Lee Harvey Oswald coincidences. You ready?
Yeah.
Footnote: coincidence. Lee was always reading 2 or 3 books, like Kennedy. Did military service in the Pacific, like Kennedy. Poor handwriting, terrible speller, like Kennedy. Wives pregnant at the same time, brothers named Robert. The mimetic logic that culminates in Oswald's deliberately murderous act is that he is actually eliminating his own other. The metaphysical joke, of course, is that in the assassin's sleepwalking semi-consciousness, it is Oswald who is the original and Kennedy the copy. An ironic twist of Baudrillard's Perfect Crime, which is the extermination of the real by the double.
This is David Lynch's Tulpas, by the way.
Sure. The more homicidal the original plot becomes, this is revealed with great clarity through the meditations of Frank Vasquez, a composite of possible second shooters Eladio del Valle Gutierrez and Sandalio Herminio Diaz Garcia on assassination with a telescopic lens. Man, it's too bad that when DeLillo wrote it, he didn't just make the name 8 names long. You just add them together. That's
what Thomas Pynchon would do.
That's what Thomas Pynchon would do. That's right. He would name them like Jarritos, Frijoles Negros, Chiapas. Yeah, that's right. On his 4th day with Castro, he shot a government scout aiming through a telescopic sight. It was uncanny. You press a button and a man drops dead 100 meters away. It seemed hollow and remote, falsifying everything. It was a trick of the lenses. A man is an accurate picture. Then he's upside down. Then he's right side up. You shoot at a series of images, conveying to you through a metal tube. The force of a death should be enormous, but how can you know what kind of man you've killed or who is the braver and the stronger? If you had to peer through layers of glass and deliver the image, but obscure the meaning of the act, war has a conscience, or it's ordinary murder. What?
You see how Edgar Allan Poe-esque that is? It's a trick of the lenses. You can imagine like Victorian man in top hat, like entertaining a crowd that's in like torchlit London. Okay, yep. That's exactly the same process is at work here. The same concept of the
advances in optics in the United States have enabled us to. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Sex frequent. I'm sorry, this is so gay.
I'm having fun, Sex Freakman.
I'm having fun. Sex Freakman. I'm sorry, this is so gay as he lubricates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. Right. We forgive you for being so gay, Sex Freakman.
A literary touch that Debord would take to heart. Neither a completely false form of consciousness nor a mere question of technology. The spectacle is far better viewed as a Weltanschauung that has been actualized, translated into the material realm. A world. This is bringing in German technical terminology. And
Weltanschauung just means worldview.
Yeah. Or does it? Why didn't he just say worldview?
Well, again, this is one of those times where does he mean worldview or does he mean Weltanschauung?
Does he mean Lebensraum?
Right. Again, so Lebensraum does not actually work if you say settling room. Like there's a whole fucking superstructure.
That's what I call the room in my house where I keep the television.
But so if you translate this over into very cautious Anglo theory, okay, what you're doing is you're combining Marvin Minsky's concept of partial memory states, okay, with what was the other one? Partial memory states. Can't remember what the other one is, but then this is what eventually comes down to is the most recent successful person to bridge these continental because this is every once in a while you'll get an English that goes out into the world and listens to what other people are saying and comes back and explains it to us in terms that we can understand it. This is Nick Land's hyperstition.
Yeah. Okay. That has been actualized, translated into the material realm, a worldview transformed into an objective force. The spectacle epitomizes the prevailing model of social life. Strikingly, Libra's 2 onto-epistemological premises are essentially Debordian. The spectacle, the spectacle, which is the social totality of contemporary reality, it is inherently indeterminate and therefore infinite or endless. And 2, the sum total of perceptual apparatuses within the society of the spectacle are exclusively governed by a thoroughly cinematic imaginary that creates the
Damn.
false consciousness of psychically meaningful coincidences
Yeah.
or synchronicity, the occult forces of Kaiser's The Grotesque as a play with the absurd.
This is the occult aspect. This is what, again, postmodernism breeds to be like medieval witchcraft in a lot of ways, and this is one of the ways to be.
You gotta bring back magic.
You're doing
Mysticism,
you're doing literal magic. You're the transmutation of thought into material, you know.
The union of opposites, Jerry.
Or
the great work.
You know, in like sort of Leibnizian terms, is the transmutation of the negative one into the one, you know. And then again,
union of opposites.
Just as the dog trot running along next to us, what does Nick Land say? I remain skewered on 0. And that's what this is outsideness.
Let's see. The infinity of the spectacle is personified by Nicholas Branch, retired senior analyst of the Central Intelligence Agency. Oh man, he's also the frame story. He's the perspective in Libra. Let's see. And covert historian of the JFK assassination, whose real but unstated function is to reassemble all available data on Dealey Plaza in order to ensure its ultimate indecipherability. By the way, just Nicholas Branch's role is essentially, so if you recall at the end of Aberration in the Heartland of the Real, where, you know, where Wendy Painting makes herself a participant, and basically like puts down a cigarette and walks outside.
Yeah,
that's her doing Nicholas Branch.
Yeah.
So, let's see. And covert historian of the JFK assassination, whose real but unstated function is to reassemble all the available data in order to ensure its ultimate indecipherability. Let's see. Footnote here. The case will haunt him to the end. Of course, they've known it all along. That's why they built this room for him. This room of growing old, the room of history and dreams. Although the primary unifying thread, both narratively and metaphysical, of the novel, the scenes with Branch only occupy a total of 7 pages. Yeah, it's just him in a room full of microfiche and, you know, like it just contains everything that anyone involved could have ever touched. It's basically a sort of a Proustian memory palace for everyone involved in the JFK assassination. So
yeah.
In rendered in physical space. Branch must study everything. He is in too deep to be selective. He sits under a lap robe and worries. The truth is he hasn't written all that much. He has extensive and overlapping notes in 3-foot drifts, all these years of notes. But of actual finished prose, there is precious little. It is impossible to stop assembling data. Stuff keeps coming. There are theories to evaluate, lives to ponder and mourn. No one at the CIA has asked to see his work in progress. Not a chapter, a page, a word of it. The governing conceit here is that the inherent unreadability of Dealey Plaza, ordinarily the prime sign of the inherent meaninglessness of a given event, is, even if only by serendipity, the mark of Everett's design to create a hermeneutical cloud of unknowing that is itself a signifier of the deeper design, which ultimately cannot be reconstructed.
No, my God.
The irony is only deepened through Branch's wholly asymmetrical and non-dialogic relationship with the invisible but seemingly omniscient curator, who continuously sends him more data but never requests a final or finite summation of the truth. Branch's narrative function, in essence, is to serve as an ironical juxtapose to Everett's pseudo-providential manipulations. There's something they aren't telling him. The curator delays lately in filling certain requests for information, seems to ignore other requests completely. What are they holding back? How much more is there? Branch wonders if there is some limit inherent on the yielding of information gathered in secret. They can't give it all away. even to one of their own, someone pledged to confidentiality. Before his retirement, Branch analyzed intelligence, sought patterns and random scads of data. He believed secrets were childish things. He was not generally impressed by the accomplishments of men in clandestine service, the spy handlers, the covert action staff. He thought they'd built a vast theology, a formal coded body of knowledge that was basically play material, secret keeping, one of the keener pleasures and conflicts of childhood. Now he wonders if the agency is protecting something very much like its identity, protecting its own truth, its theology of secrets. And of course, the presence of theology, or more subversively, the theology of presence, is precisely what leads to the novel's second major metaphysical gimmick, the ubiquity of synchronicity and high strangeness. Branch has become wary of these cases of cheap.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is high strangeness? What does it mean? And I published by Apocalypse Confidential, and they use that phrase in their headline. What is? But I've heard it so much recently. What is high strangeness?
What do you think high strangeness is?
I mean, again, because you know this is the kind of person I am. To me, is an anglossic way, because high usually sort of means elevated. Is this like? Is it a synonym for the uncanny? Is what I'm like asking. You know. What is the contours of this concept, high strangeness, and how does it map to the uncanny? This is literally, I have a draft about this right now.
So I high strangeness is like is an old phrase.
Yeah.
And I think it actually might be Charles Fort who came up with it. And if it wasn't Charles Fort, it was someone that Charles Fort like wrote with, or a contemporary of him. But basically, high strangeness is things that are actually unexplainable.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Rather than like in sort of unexplainable in their not merely unusual or having plausible if clandestine explanations.
Yeah.
But things that are actually not possible to explain or articulate.
Okay.
So
sounds good. Okay.
Yeah. And synchronicity and high strangeness. Branch has become wary of these cases of cheap coincidences. He's beginning to think someone is trying to sway him towards superstition. He wants a thing to be what it is. Can't a man die without the ensuing ritual of a search for patterns and links? The curator sends a 400-page study of the similarities between Kennedy's death and Lincoln's.
I mean, okay, but we have also here posited, strangely, in this weird way, we've posited a mechanism we've posited a political script that emerges, that it results in the attempted, not attempted kill shot on Trump,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, don't you love the meme where it's like, all right, now I hear you're the best sniper in the world, even though you're just a teenager with no social media presence. Now,
yeah.
I remember you need to just wing me and ventilate the firemen behind me. Oh, and by the way, the Secret Service will blow your brains out and everyone will think you're a libtard, but I'll know the truth. Right. Anything for you, sir. Yeah. Now, let's see. Footnote here. A sentiment which is neatly inverted by the brutal and irreducible materialism of the pornography of the autopsy photographs and post-mortem reports that flood Branch's office. He doesn't know why they're sending him this particular grisly material after all these years. Shattered bone and horror. That's all it means to him. There's nothing to understand, no insights to be had from these pictures and statistics, from this melancholy bullet with its nose leveled and spread like a penny left on a trolley track. How old he is. The bloody goat heads seem to mock him. He begins to think that this is the point. They're rubbing his face in the blood and gunk. They're mocking him. They're saying, in effect, here, look, these are the true images. This is your history. Here's the blown out skull for you to ponder. Here is lead penetrating bone. They're saying, look, touch. This is the true nature of the event, not your beautiful ambiguities, your lives of the major players, your compassions and sadnesses, not your room full of theories, your museum of contradictory fact, not you. There are no contradictions here. Your history is simple. See the man on the slab, open eyes staring, the goat head oozing rudimentary matter. They're saying this is what it looks like to get shot.
I had a real life conversation about this just this weekend. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
You mean about the JFK assassination?
No, about what people look like when they get killed. It was a mutual friend of ours, by the way.
Yeah. What did he look like when you killed him?
He was pointing out that. Like,
also, I did note that I'm down a mutual, so you know.
No, he's not. No, he's not on Twitter. But the spectacle, the sort of the situation is spectacle of what a person looks like when they get shot versus what actually happens, and that like people get it all wrong, you know.
Oh, like you mean like how sometimes there's actually not that much blood, and sometimes there's all the blood.
Yeah. Well, that is like there's like twitching and everything, like noble direct deaths don't really happen. Like people don't really just fall over, you know.
Well, sometimes they do, and it's like it's really crazy looking. They just bend at the waist. They just bend at the waist and wobble over.
The context is we were talking about Charlie Kirk.
Oh yeah. Well, was his death? I mean, like his arms jerked.
It was a rare example of when it actually does look like the memes.
Yeah, where it's like you just get flatlined.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. R.I.P. Charlie. But yeah, no, I mean a lot of the times, you know, you watch a Brazilian security camera footage, and a lot of the times it's just, you know, you see someone fall out of camera range, and you just, you know, you find in the caption that they died.
Yeah.
Right? So, let's see. The most fundamental metaphysical paradox of the society of the spectacle is that it is both radically empirical, sight that is all there is, and radically idealistic. All seeing is conveyed through the collective consciousness of mass media simultaneously. Which, yeah, I mean that's what we've been saying, right? That the intermediation of perception is the definition of the spectacle. The default position of such an interminable hilarity is, of course, the cinematic, which all of the characters of Libra are hopelessly enslaved to. T.J. Mackey, for example, remembers and therefore relives the entirety of the Bay of Pigs in expressly cinematic terms. The memory was a series of still images, a film broken down into components. He couldn't quite make it continuous. Footnote, Debord's onto-epistemology closely resembles that of George Berkeley. Every sensation is an idea, and every idea is a sensation perfectly conceived. I don't know about that. Every sensation is an idea. Every idea is a sensation.
Every sensation is an idea. Yeah, no, I'm there. I mean, in the sense that it's like
in the sense that it's data, like it's information.
It's a projection, and it's a matrix projection, is what it is. It's a de-dimensionalization. So it's a representation of a situation as a sensation. So yeah, everything. An instantaneous idea is a partial recollection of the circumstances that formed it.
I suppose
Is there anybody left listening? There is. Wow, y'all are some troopers.
Real troopers. Let's see. Under the aegis of spectacular power, neither thought nor meaning are lost. Rather, they are both thoroughly subsumed under editing. The truth meaning of any event is identical with the correct reassemblage of the tele-reality within the correct sequence. Both optical and libidinal. Everett himself makes the duality of the society of the spectacle, both ocular and erotic, clear to his wife. U-2 planes, the planes that spotted the missiles the Soviets were putting into Cuba. We used to call the photos pornography. The photo interpreters would gather to interpret. Let's see what kind of pornography we pulled today. Kennedy looked at the pictures in his bedroom, as a matter of fact. I'll tell you what it means. These orbiting sensors that can hear us in our beds. It means the end of loyalty. The more complex the system, the less conviction in people. Conviction will be drained out of us. Devices will drain us, make us vague and pliant. Very true. Very true. And that's why, and we now have people deliberately designing trustless systems, right? So let's see. Sex Freakman, true in a really trivial sense, like sensations are to the body, what ideas are to the mind. But is not the mind born in the body? We're not going to do mind-brain dualism. And Rip Drive, first time tuning in. Welcome, willkommen.
What a strange day! What a strange day to walk in.
What a strange day to walk in. That's right. That's right. Yeah, definitely start the series sometime earlier. Although don't tune out. We do.
Yeah. Just hang out. Yeah. Just enjoy the skits.
But listen to the backlog. In a world that is wholly ocular, paranoia becomes the only form of connectivity available to us. The close reading of visual sequences for the purposes of establishing the true nature of the relationship between self and other. Not only are all of the major characters in Libra wholly given over to a paranoid worldview, an occupational hazard within national security work, but they employ paranoid reconstructions as a narcissistic/infantile form of emotional gratification. In Jungian terms, an unexplained coincidence, real or imaginary, that induces a profound psychic transformation is known as synchronicity. And synchronicity, as should be obvious, is very much a matter of the psychic editing of an interrupted and inherently chaotic flow of sensory input.
See, he's all over the place. It's driving me crazy. He's all over the place. He's just importing incongruous German semantics. He's like mixing German theories up, and it's a headache.
Sex Freakman, wait till the series is over and listen in reverse order. Yes, it's like we're slowly forgetting information. It's great. This is we're definitely making a chef salad at this point, right? Let's see. Induces profound psychic transformation is known as synchronicity, and as should be obvious, is very much a matter of the psychic editing of an interrupted and inherently chaotic flow of sensory input. This becomes clear in a conversation between David Ferry, portrayed in the novel as the waking, rational self of the somnambulistic Oswald, and the game.
Wow. I don't know about that. Well, I've never read the book, but that's why that's a pretty out there claim, bro.
I don't really feel that is true. To be honest. And the mafiosi Carmine Lotta, Carlos Marcello, and the generic Tony Astorina. Tony said, speaking of Cuba, a couple of weeks ago, I dreamed I'm swimming on the Capri roof with Jack Ruby. The next day on Bourbon Street. Who do I fucking see? You talking about coincidence. We don't know what to call it, so we say coincidence. It goes deeper, Ferry said. You're a gambler. You get a feeling about a horse, a poker hand. There's a hidden principle. Every process contains its own outcome. Sometimes we tap in. We see, we know. I used to run into Jack Ruby now and then. What was he doing in New Orleans? The mob owned the Capri Hotel in Havana. The seduction of tapping into the cosmic joke of synchronicity is, of course, the moment of supreme danger for the parapolitical scholar, just as it perennially is for Nicholas Branch. At the precise instant that conspiracy theory discourse enters into the mainstream media, it is instantaneously appropriated by the operatives of the universalist circulation of freedom of information and subsequently transformed into just one more spectacle. As Debord has theorized, and as I have partially demonstrated, the revealing of clandestine truths invariably provokes the countermove of disinformation.
Okay, fine.
Fine.
I mean, it took a long time to say
fine,
that.
Eric.
Yeah,
Fine, Eric.
literally.
Nicholas Branch is one of the most underrated parts of Libra, though. It is interesting that he zeroed in on that. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. The ultra-idiocy of naive realism, JFK. I wish Gabe was in the chat so that I could make fun of him
I think
and
he's
his
here.
ultra-idiocy.
He's been here. He was here earlier.
Was he here earlier? I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it. Well, hey, if you're still in the chat, say something so I can condemn you for ultra-idiocy. Anyway, fucking Croatians, swear to God. Remember, fundamentally, people are suckers for the truth, and the truth is on your side, Bubba. Colonel X Donald Sutherland to Jim Garrison, Kevin Costner in JFK. In a world that has really been turned on its head, truth is a moment of falsehood. Guy Debord. I should have said that in a French accent. Fuck.
No.
In a world that has really been turned on its head, truth is a moment of falsehood. It's outrageous.
It is so out there.
Outrageous. I'm lost, boss. What are we saying here? Bill Broussard, Michael Rooker in JFK. I'm tired, boss. What was that movie? Green Mile. Yeah. Perhaps the greatest parody of Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Humanly conceivable. Oliver Stone's, aka the Wagner of Hollywood. Oh, who the fuck's that? Robert Sam Anson in Stone and Sklar. Wow. What fucking Jesus Christ. What an overblown compliment. Yeah. I mean, Oliver Stone's not bad, but fuck. JFK has been described by the Kennedy dynasty's greatest toady, Arthur Schlesinger Jr., as a virtuoso exercise in postmodernist filmmaking. The choice of the what does toady mean? I think that's what toady means. We should ask Barry Weiss.
Yeah.
The choice of the word postmodernist is illuminating, for that elusive term is the key to interpreting Stone's monumental and bombastic epic, a cinematic spectacle that is not only a media event in its own right, but the source of a parallel spectacle of public discourse that operated concurrently within the journalistic establishment. Anyone who spends any time investigating Dealey Plaza comes to recognize clearly the ultimate political issue at stake in Dallas. How we make sense of the assassination of John F. Kennedy is directly related to how we make sense of American public life. The events of November 22nd, 1963 have thus become a kind of national Rorschach test for the American political psyche. Those 6 seconds of gunfire in Dallas's Dealey Plaza serve as an enigmatic ink blot into which we read our political concerns. The assassination is not simply an unclassified fragment of parapolitical reality, but the fulcrum of a crisis of political legitimacy. That's no small part of the reason why Stone and the conspiracy theorists are contrasted so fiercely today. Those who do believe Oswald acted alone are not only defending the anti-conspiratorial theory advanced by the Warren Commission, they are also defending the credibility of senior U.S. government officials, the integrity of U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies, and the capabilities of the national media. If there is a conspiracy, then the media has thus far failed to uncover it. The lone gunman theory of Kennedy's death, in its own way no less implausible than some of the conspiracy theories, depends on confidence in the legitimacy of national political authority. Footnote on that one. Compare this with the insight of arch-conservative pundit William F. Buckley. William F. Buckley speaking. The great general skepticism of the question of who killed JFK is really the nature of cognate question. Who really ordered Watergate? Who really was guilty of aggression in the Tonkin Gulf? Who really started the Civil War? What were the motives of the founding fathers? I fucking hate
Yes.
that faggot.
No. I was watching the firing line earlier today. I was watching the one because Tom Will and I were posting about Jack Kerouac on like TV shows, and his firing line episode is fucking legendary. It was like 2 weeks before it was like 2 weeks before he died. He goes on the firing line drunk as a fucking skunk.
Hero.
And it's entertaining.
William F. Buckley, famously closeted gay, by the way. Also, his accent was fake anyway, so it doesn't matter that I did a faker one. It is worth mentioning here the release by the CIA in January 1967 of a directive to. Would anyone today call William F. Buckley an arch-conservative who wasn't trying to run interference?
No, Nick Lane had a tweet about that this morning too.
Really?
Yeah. He was talking about finding this particular breed of conservative as like a bio artifact left in the wild.
That was me who said that.
Oh, was it you? Okay, yeah.
That was
okay.
me. That was. Thank you for confusing me with Nick Land.
Well, okay, yeah.
But,
I hadn't slept in a while.
Fair enough. I said a conservative is a near extinct species of centrist that reproduces through brood parasitism of the right wing. They're being rapidly extirpated due to the expansion of resistant right-wing populations.
Yeah.
But yeah, that for sure. Like, fucking Buckley never did anything. I don't know. I think I would say end of conservatism. Like abandon the phrase.
I would say a bit. Well, Buckley to me is the beginning of conservatism.
Oh, what were they before?
The progressives.
Oh,
there was so what to me conservatism was when all this Bay of Pigs shit happened and the right-wing progressives got thrown under the bus. There was a synthesis of this thing that used to be called the old right with like a sort of new set of CIA sorts, and that's what the conservative movement became. It's the antithesis of conservatism. I mean, that's the inception of movement conservatism. Yeah,
movement, meat. It is worth mentioning here the release by the CIA in January 1967 of a directive to its numerous contacts and assets within the media on how to proceed in framing the parameters of the debate over conspiracy theory. I provide the most relevant portions below. CIA document 1035-960, 4th of January 1967. He put the fucking footnote here, right? I'm just going to read the thing and then go for it. This trend of opinion, 46% of American public did not think that Oswald acted alone, and that's 1967, by the way, is a matter of concern to the U.S. government, including our organization. The members of the Warren Commission were naturally chosen for their integrity, experience, and prominence. They represented both major parties, and they and their staff were deliberately drawn from all sections of the country. Just because of the standing of the commissioners, efforts to impugn their rectitude and wisdom tend to cast doubt on the whole leadership of American society. Moreover, there seems to be an increasing tendency to hint that President Johnson himself, as the one person who might be said to have benefited, was in some way responsible for the assassination.
Yeah.
Innuendo of such seriousness affects not only the individual concerned, but also the whole reputation of the American government. Section 2, action. A, to discuss the publicity problem with friendly elite contacts, especially politicians and editors, pointing out that the Warren Commission made as thorough an investigation as humanly possible, that the charges of the critics are without serious foundation, and that any further speculative discussion only plays into the hands of the opposition. Point out also that the parts of the conspiracy talk appear to be generated by communist propagandists. Urge them to use their influence to discourage unfounded and irresponsible speculation. You see, this talk has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. A conspirator would hardly choose a location for a shooting where so much depended on conditions beyond his control. The route, the speed of the cars, the moving target, the risk that the assassin would be discovered. A group of wealthy conspirators could have arranged a much more secure conditions. And Oswald would not have been any sensible person's choice for a co-conspirator. He was a loner, mixed up, questionable reliability, an unknown quantity to any professional intelligence service. That's also like a little bit of a what an odd thing to say type of. It's just like oh, we've obviously thought about this, and if we needed to assassinate someone, we would choose someone completely different, right?
Right.
Anyway, footnote: the book Dispatch was written by Western Hemisphere Division Chief Bill Broey at the request of Richard Helms. Lane offers this account of the CIA's penetration of the mass media. This is the method now employed. An independent publication is chosen to mask the source. A CIA puppet is placed there and given an impressive title. The CIA then provides the propaganda. It appears as an independent concept when published. The CIA, employing its official website, cia.gov, then cites the independent writer and the independent publication as the source as it spreads its false allegations throughout the world. In the intelligence world, some refer to this as sheep dipping.
Yeah.
Their wolf has been dipped into a sheep's bath and came up smelling quite neutral. Boy, isn't it crazy that the Steele dossier was produced the year after this book was published?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. They just, you just kind of wonder, like, was Eric Wilson like, was he TND'd? He was probably TND'd.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. TDS, not TND'd. That hasn't happened yet. And he probably had Trump derangement syndrome, and so I wonder if he caught it, because that's literally the exact process, right? The exact process of Russiagate is that. The release of JFK in December of 1991 ignited an outburst of journalistic opprobrium of such intensity that it can only be likened to a sort of moral panic, the sort of counterculture gossip mongering that normally accompanies shock realizations of satanic ritual abuse or repressed memory syndrome. I reproduce some of the most outstanding examples of the vituperation of the official commentariat below. Note the sliding conflation of otherwise incompatible agendas: moralistic, political, and artistic. How was the thesaurus on that last sentence?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty powerful.
It's good. I mean, I think he's on solid ground. You know,
No.
He's in his wheelhouse.
That's
there.
purely a stylistic observation.
Yeah.
Whether or not it is a gift, artistic talent conveys a responsibility. Those who can sway emotions ought to know that what they are talking about, lest emotions be swayed towards foolishness. But JFK is not parody, and it is not funny. It could spoil a generation of American politics just when sanity is returning. A return to sanity. Let's see. Footnote here. This is incorrect. JFK can very easily be read as a carnivalesque version of a Frank Capra film. Let's see. The film was released in December of 1991, so presumably the return of political sanity refers to the election of Bill Clinton. All right, well, whatever. The Berlin Wall fell, so I guess it was insanity prior to that. Fair enough. And it is the business of those who do care about future generations to worry, if they wish, about how Stone's legacy is a dose of heightened distrust and paranoia. The children of the video age get their information more from images than from words. They tend to believe, this is 91, remember?
Yeah.
They tend to believe uncritically what they see. They'll swallow JFK whole. Society cannot produce police art. Excuse me. Society cannot police art for inaccuracies. Filmmakers are free to take whatever liberties they wish, but society can denounce bogus history and study honest history. That means reading critically, otherwise. Hollywood becomes the culture's historian by default. True, but also JFK was closer to reality than, anyway. The rancor over JFK arises from around the realization that historical lies are nearly impossible to correct once movies and television have given them credibility. True. Now do World War II. Now do World War II. Yeah. Although many in the media have lambasted the movie as a travesty of history, many moviegoers probably will not read their critiques, and the movie version is likely to become their reality. Numerous studies show when people have no independent information on a subject, a mention in the media is more likely to be powerful, more likely to be remembered, and more likely to be influential. In an age when most young Americans have no sense of history or geography and don't like to read much, point out Dealey Plaza on a map, there is the real potential that Oliver Stone's spine-tingling mythopoetic of John Kennedy's tragic death will replace the Warren Commission as the next popular perception. Oh no, what a tragedy.
No.
One of the most insightful responses to this avalanche of panicked bile was that offered by Bob Katz, channeling the spirit of Berlusconi a full 10 years before the actual event. Who but an ivory tower pedant still believes in the primacy of facts? The so-called facts are as susceptible to the sleek techniques of promotion and spin control as the new Infinity or candidate Dan Quayle. Our age of innocence with respect to truth is over. History will be whatever the majority of people, and our proxy, the viewing public, chooses to believe. Lacking all faith in our ability to discover truth, we raise our hand in abject surrender to await polling results. I mean, where's the lie?
Yeah.
Don't sound so excited, though.
Yeah, right.
Bob Katz. Let's get an early life check on this guy. Man. Let's see here. The truth of our postmodern condition, the children of the video age, is not that one is able to differentiate between truth and falsehood. It is rather that everyone has been traumatized by the omnipresence of simulation and simulacra. I will point out that the children they were talking about, who were children in 1991, as one of those children, I guess they're right. I do believe in Oliver Stone's JFK more than I do the Warren Commission.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think they're being kind of like, I think they'd be kind of rough with Oliver Stone here, actually, if you want to know the truth. But again, I'm a little more pragmatic.
What do you mean?
I'm just willing to accept things that move people. Because it went an incredible way towards moving people off of zero on the Kennedy thing. So there's something there.
Well, but those were contemporary criticisms because it went counter to the Warren Commission narrative.
Fair.
The truth of our postmodern condition, the children of the video age, is not that no one is able to differentiate between truth and falsehood. It is rather that everyone has been traumatized by the omnipresence of simulation and simulacra. Therefore, by definition, truth becomes reduced to a commodity, the value of reality validated not by an objectivist epistemology, but by the economic imperative of the undecidability of a subjectivist freedom of consumer choice. The crisis of the postmodern condition is not one of perception, but of value, not the nature of reality, but the exchange value of truth. It is quite true, as Debord indicates, that spectacular domination's first priority was to eradicate historical knowledge in general, beginning with just about all rational information and commentary on the most recent past. Oh, God, it's so true. It's so true. Obviously more true now than when it was written. But it is also equally true that the reign of the perpetual present becomes our historically correct domain of reference through the valorization of life as freedom of choice. The authentic grounds of the moral panic within the anti-Stone media campaign is not that JFK distorts the truth of Dealey Plaza in any significant, long-lasting way, but that it demonstrates how easily a possible deep event can be transformed into and commodified as entertainment. The capacity of the film for disinformation, even if wholly unintentional, is directly proportionate to the extent of its embedding within the circulatory capillaries of mass media. Okay, all of that is generally speaking true, but it's also true of things that aren't even necessarily supposed to be representing real history. Right? Like that's why so many people will draw, political parallels to Marvel movies or Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or Starship Troopers. We've all got our slop. We love our slop, don't we, folks? But yeah, everyone has their preferred slop, and they will draw contemporary political lessons and actually feel that they have gained insight into historical events through mass media fictions, like explicit fictions, right? I'm not going to say that you can't find truth in fiction, like capital T truth, right? But it's not like discursive truth, right? It's not the same thing as an attempt at verifying.
You mean like capital T truth? Is that what you mean?
It's not the same thing as
Yeah, I guess it's not
historiography.
Well, okay, yeah.
Right. But people will treat it as historiography.
Yeah.
Not infrequently. So let's see. I don't know. What is it? Anyway, I'm just going to go on. Sex Freakman. I'm pretty sure this has been a trite point for like 70 to 90 years at the point it was written. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah. I mean, it is a little frustrating. I have trouble determining to what degree this, like, when was this novel? Are we still absorbing this information? You know what I mean? Are we
sort
actually,
of by definition?
are we? Are we still attempting to? It's just that it's gotten more true in ways that were not even like possible to. It's gotten more true in ways that were not even possible to predict at the time that the observation was first made. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The prospect that an issue deep and dear will be adjudicated by the carnival barkers of Tinseltown is indeed troubling. The unsolved murder of the century has entered the realm of myth. History, as defined by box office returns, may strike many as a deplorable development, but we have been heading in that direction a long time. Interesting. The unsolved murder of the century has entered the realm of myth, but Bob Katz was previously stating that, and that came from Bob Katz, but Bob Katz previously stated that, he believed the Warren Commission. So,
I wonder if there's a list available of people who said they believed the Warren Commission.
Right? Yeah. Like, shame this man. Yeah. Oh no, wait, no, sorry. Bob Katz was the one who did not believe the Warren Commission. So okay, kudos to him. But all right. And of course, as Jameson well understood, the seductive appeal of being in the know or counting oneself as hip, to use James Ellroy's terminology, a neo-noir crime writer who is acutely aware of the drawing power of voyeuristic occultism, is identical with the promise of a deeper inside view that is the hermeneutic content of the conspiracy thriller in general. DeLillo makes exactly the same point through the mouth of the perennially hapless Nicholas Branch. He's just going to publish everything about Branch in Libra. By the way, he's just going to excerpt it in this section. If we are on the outside, we assume a conspiracy is the perfect working of a scheme. Silent, nameless men with unadorned hearts. A conspiracy is everything that ordinary life is not. It's the inside game. Cold, sure, undistracted, forever closed off to us. We are the flawed ones, the innocents, trying to make some rough sense of the daily jostle. Conspirators have a logic and a daring beyond our reach. All conspiracies are the same taut story of men who find coherence in some criminal act.
Well, I think it kind of undermines his earlier thesis, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, the earlier thesis of what?
The bit about the uncanny. Well, I don't know. He's buying into my sort of concept of the uncanny, actually, is what he's doing. So yeah. We're all in good shape.
Okay. As Jameson further demonstrates, the entirety of the historical weight assigned to Dealey Plaza, including this book that you are reading, rests upon the labyrinthine overlapping between JFK and the press, capital P, especially television journalism. What ensured the well-nigh permanent association of assassination in general with this particular historical one was the experience of the media, which for the first time and uniquely in its history bound together an enormous collectivity over several days and vouchsafed a glimpse into utopian public sphere of the future, which remained unrealized. Henceforth, assassination and question of the media are representationally related and mutually implicit in ways in which they were not in popular or collective representations of Sarajevo, for example, or Lincoln's death. This real aesthetic paradox of JFK that ultimately undermines the film's claim to serious cinematic art rests with its stylistic incoherence that is the direct result of a skewed attempt to unify two inherently incompatible literary and filmic genres, the crime story and the detective story. The basic pattern of the detective film, in stark contrast to the crime film, which radically relativizes both truth and the world, is the search. These tales have goal-oriented plots.
Yeah.
Have a teleology.
Yeah.
Patterns of action.
No, that's important right there. That's important.
Patterns of action to which investigation is key. Mysteries in detective films often mete out clues in small progressive portions, so that the viewer's process of discovery parallels the investigators. Sometimes they conceal the object of the search, such as the villain's identity, as long as possible. At other times, the goal of the search is clear from the start, and the investigator's job is to find the thing that is missing. The epistemological frame of the detective film as a strictly representational theory of language, yielding a hero protagonist who reassures us of an ultimate rationality, a benevolent and knowable universe, a world that can be interpreted by human reason, embodied in the superior intellect of the detective. The detective's skill is precisely the ability to code seemingly unrelated data into a coherent system of signs, a text identifying a malefactor. Therefore, the function of the detective hero is to guarantee the reader's absolution from guilt. This is basic to the genre's wish fulfillment. What matters is the detective's revelation, not the murderer's punishment. For in this myth of rationality, truth takes priority over justice. If the detective film has a philosophical prejudice, it is naive realism, the tendency to believe that oneself always sees and responds to the world objectively. And thus, when others do not agree, it is because their cognitions or behaviors are not based on reality. It is naive realism. Yeah. Okay. So
there we go. Naive. This is what I think. What he's doing is naive. He's doing a naive idealism, is what he's doing. I think. But okay.
Yeah. To believe that oneself always sees and responds to the world objectively. Right.
This is the unstoppable force in the immovable object, though. Yeah.
JFK's fatal flaw and Stone's lethal conceit is that the film aspires to be a postmodernist detective story. Its almost operatic deployment of the pseudo-documentary technique subliminally asserts itself as objectively factual and therefore as historically accurate. Yet its entire content, both substantive and stylistic, clearly marks it as a crime film. The text of JFK is the detective story, while the subtext is the noir tale of criminality. In many ways, JFK resembles the seminal True Crime, but postmodernist documentary by Errol Morris, The Thin Blue Line, which concerns the false conviction of an apparently innocent man for the killing of a Texas highway patrolman. Both films suffer from the same stylistic incoherence through the self-undermining fusion of postmodernist filmmaking with a strictly modernist epistemology and morality. You said that earlier, actually.
Yeah.
That you were setting up a hierarchy, and thus you were doing a modernism while attempting to do a postmodernism.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is key concept in Sandbatchism, which is that
by doing a modernism while attempting to do a postmodernism, you've done a Sandbatchism.
Literally, you've revealed the fixed ground of the modern.
You stand upon conditioned ground.
Yes.
Richard C. Sherwin has provided some exceptionally insightful criticism of Morris's work. But on an allegorical level, the film depicts a battle that rages back and forth, moment by moment, across a thin blue line of representational order. It is a battle against chaos, fate, and deception, forces that could easily destroy human agency and makes individual responsibility impossible. Metaphorically, the film asks a fundamental and daring question: who or what polices meaning?
It's Columbo. Who or what?
Columbo,
just a few more questions, sir.
Just one more thing. Yeah. My wife, she's on my case. Doesn't have a wife. Destroy human agency and makes individual responsibility impossible. Metaphorically, the film asks the fundamental and daring question, or what polices meaning. It is a daring question that Morris does not quite see through, for in the end, the postmodern counterplot does not take hold. In Morris's film, the truth is knowable, yet its cinematic tension within the film that Sherwin rightly identifies as precisely the incommensurability between the detective and the crime genres. The Thin Blue Line's parodic postmodern self-conscious images are eventually overwhelmed by the linear detective plot. The viewer resists the invitation to find problems in the film's linear plot. We refuse to entertain the possibility that the purported documentary nature of the film is itself merely another dramatic reenactment. We reject the parody and prefer to play it straight. Why does the text in the end overwhelm the subtext? Here, the moral and epistemic relativism, or the immorality of postmodernism, is thwarted by the political morality and moralism of the legal drama, the discovery of truth and the triumphant elevation of innocence. The subtext, or counterplot, fails in the same way that skeptical postmodernism is likely to fail in law and lawyering generally.
Okay, fair. Based.
In a legal context, the reality that it portrays is aesthetically and psychologically untenable. In matters of life and death, whether it be execution of the accused or the possibility of his killing again, we instinctively reject the message of skeptical postmodernism. Well, we do, but let's talk about the judges, huh? Let's talk about the judges, right, guys? Anyway, human traits like prejudice, deceit, greed, abuse of power, and the reality of a deliberate frame-up are things we can understand. But mystification, time circuitry, fate, and coincidence defeat the practical demands of human judgment. Which is, of course, absolutely no problem for DeLillo, whose conspiracy text faithfully abides by the narrative requirements of the crime genre, albeit in extreme form. But it proves artistically fatal for Morris, as it does for Stone, who is also excavating the truth concerning a murder in Texas. Chaos is disorienting and unpleasant, especially in matters of life and death. Decisions of such consequence are no time for epistemological conundrums or atheistic musing or aesthetic musings. Excuse me.
Or because he said we don't need to become Nick Land.
Some of us are still Marxist,
Yeah, literally.
Thus, once nestled in the sobering frame of a criminal trial, storytelling fiction such as Morris's self-consciously cartoonish images, and their playful interference with the linear documentary have a boomerang effect. These caricatures of reality only send us running back to the truer reality, the reality that the linear plot alone is able to provide. Faced with untenable disorder on the one hand and a meaningful drama on the other, there is no choice. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sex Freakman, this is actually just prehistoric bread tube. We're doing the video portion of his video essay.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of what's going on. Yeah.
There is when did No Country for Old Men come out?
2006.
No way.
Yep.
The film?
Yep. Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, 2007. Doesn't No Country for Old Men kind of like butt fuck this point completely to death?
Because it's a modernist text.
But the construction of it, like as it's a parallel detective and crime story. Like he's running both. He's running both, and the detective just gives up. The detective genre, like the modernity gives up and allows post-modernity to do what it will.
I don't know that I agree with that, but that's pretty far afield. That's a whole other. That's a bonus episode right there.
But I mean, he's talking about Thin Blue Line. He should, if you're bringing that shit in, you ought to bring in. It's perfectly on topic, right?
Yeah,
it's perfectly on topic because he's talking about I mean, it doesn't have the documentary aspect, right?
Yeah,
but still, like if we're talking about the power of these two sort of these two constructions, like that is you've got dueling modernity and post-modernity through a detective story or a crime story.
But which one is
in that film?
Yeah, but which one is which?
What do you mean? The Chigurh line is the crime story.
Which
is the postmodern crime.
Ooh, see,
and then the detective story is the one following what's his fucking name?
Llewellyn.
Oh, I was thinking of
or
the
John
actor.
Bell. Oh,
I was thinking of the actor. Well, Woody Harrelson is. There are two of them.
What is that guy's name?
There's Woody Harrelson and
Josh Brolin.
Not fucking Josh Brolin.
Oh, you mean Ed Tom, the sheriff, Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. God, I always forget Tommy Lee Jones's name. See, I tried to call him Warren Beatty. You see what I like? I
the difference is that Tommy Lee Jones just plays Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Basically, his character in this movie was Two-Face from Batman Returns or Batman Forever or whatever it fucking was. No, but you see what I'm getting at. Like there were two detective stories that happened in that movie, and one was Woody Harrelson and one was Tommy Lee Jones. And Woody Harrelson was the cocksure, slick guy who just dies like a dog. And Tommy Lee Jones was the sort of I don't know. We don't really need to get into this. I'm just saying that like it kind of he makes the point that you have to like pick a lane because these things are inherently incompatible, but it's not necessarily fucking true. Just because No Country for Old Men exists shows that it's possible. Maybe you just need a greater.
All right,
talent.
I'm with you. All right, I'm with you.
So, Sherwin's final judgment of the Thin Blue Line, that its aesthetic and psychological failures offer a cautionary lesson about the art of persuasive legal storytelling. The law has little use for the kind of skeptical, radically subversive postmodernism that has been featured of late in some legal and much non-legal scholarship. Can equally be leveled against JFK, although within a slightly different aesthetic context. Although Morris details a conspiracy, it would be doing violence to Jameson's terminology to classify the Thin Blue Line as a conspiracy text. Stone's film, however, is gloriously so, and as a narrator, as a narrative of the wounded survivor's account of a traumatic encounter with a deep event, must comply with the aesthetic directives concerning the representation of the grotesque. But the internal incoherence exhibited by the thin blue line is doubled in the case of JFK. The incompatibility of truth with relativism is compounded by the irrevocability of two views of the grotesque violently forced into a single but disunified narrative. The grotesque as the estranged world. It is our world which has to be transformed. Suddenness and surprise are essential elements of the grotesque.
So we did a Nick Land there.
Suddenness and surprise are essential elements of the grotesque.
Well, no, it's the bit about the grotesque is that which is changing us into it. So it's like this is the grotesque is capitalism assembling itself from the future.
Got it. And the grotesque, an attempt to invoke and subdue the demonic aspects of the world.
Yeah.
In spite of all the helplessness and horror inspired by the dark forces which lurk in and behind our world and have power to estrange it, a truly artistic portrayal affects a secret liberation. The darkness has been sighted, the ominous powers discovered, the incomprehensible forces challenged. The first issue that must be dealt with then is the problem of Stone's undigested postmodernist self-reflexivity. In part, JFK's aesthetic incoherence is not just due to Stone, but to the nature of the original spectacle itself, the televised nature of the events, and the penetration of Dallas by the audio-visual, not least Abraham Zapruder's spectacular 8mm home movie. Massive footnote on the Zapruder film. Let's see. Sex Freakman. That sounds like a good bonus episode. It would maybe be the only analysis of No Country for Old Men, which doesn't just stop at the detective is le old morality, and the point is that the world is le cruel.
No, that's not even a good reading.
No, he's saying it isn't.
Yeah, no, I'm that's explicitly what I'm not saying.
Yeah. Cultural material of clearly dubious value, when viewed for the very first time without preconception, one realizes immediately that this proof provides no certainty as to the number, rate, or direction of shots fired. Even worse, the notorious head splatter frames allow for no clear determination of the bullet's trajectory. When I saw the film for the first time while watching JFK, my initial impression was that Kennedy had been shot from the front, but from the left, not from the grassy knoll, which was to his right. I believe that the greatest forensic value of the films is that it strongly hints at a discernible time gap between President Kennedy's throat shot and Governor Connolly's back shot. The film indicates that Kennedy was shot through the throat no sooner than at frame 210, and Connolly shot through the shoulder back at no later than frame 240, a time gap of close to 2 seconds. The single bullet theory offered by the Warren Commission, which establishes Oswald as the lone gunman, requires that the bullet that exited Kennedy's throat entered Connolly's shoulder.
Here's your moment.
In any event, the absolute earliest that Connolly could have been shot was at frame 207. Most likely he was shot at some point between frames 207 to 225.
These are the missing frames, by the way.
Right. Given the muzzle velocity of the sniper's bullet was 2,200 feet per second, and that it would have entered Kennedy's body at 2,000 feet per second and exited Kennedy's body at 1,900 feet per second, both Kennedy and Connolly would have had to have been shot simultaneously. A time gap of anything above the infinitesimal is troubling. If we place Kennedy's neck wound at frame 210 and Connolly's shoulder wound at 225, this dude's like this. He's cooking. I love these.
Yeah.
This is a difference of 15 frames, well short of simultaneous. In the alternative, if we abandoned the single bullet, this means that Oswald would have had to recycle, aim, and fire his weapon, and then actually hit both Connolly and Kennedy with separate shots in under a maximum of 2 seconds. A physical impossibility. Although he publicly, it's pretty fast for a bolt.
Have you ever shot a man like a Carcano?
I have not, but they have. Don't they have Mauser style actions?
No, they haven't actually. It's Mauser's style in the sense that it's like vaguely Mauser-ish, but they actually shoot these weird pencil bullets, and
No, I know, but the actual cycling of it is
it's the same motion. Yeah, it's not like the Swiss one where it's like a pin with like a pin bolt or anything like that.
Right.
It's a anybody would be familiar with it, but it does weird things. It jams because it's not made out of particularly good metal. So I always like to point out that the Italians are so, no offense to Italians, they're so fucking stupid. They make their guns out of this material that is fine in any condition except extremely warm weather, and then they go fight in Africa with it.
tragic.
Tragic.
On the other hand, Beretta Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Beretta shotguns are incredible.
Yeah, well, hey man, the excellent pistols. The SIGs replaced the standard sidearms for a lot of American police, but then of course SIGs had some problems, but Beretta 92s were the standard sidearms. And
yeah, I'm a shotgun first guy, and Beretta they make incredible shotguns.
Oh, but you also go with Benelli as far as Italian shotguns go, and both of those are high quality.
With Italian shotguns, you go into like Caesar Guarini and like these there's like a valley in Italy that's like it's the area of Italy that they were fighting over with the Austro-Hungarians in World War One, and it's like the German Italians, like this little valley, and they have like all these like incredible gunsmiths. That's where the real shit is.
Sick. All right. Single bullet. Yeah. Publicly endorsed the findings of the. All right. So, although he publicly endorsed the findings of the Warren Commission until the end of his life, Connolly maintained that he was hit by a separate shot. He also insisted that only 3 shots were fired, and they all came from the rear. Believe survivors. Believe survivors.
We believe survivors on this niche topic podcast.
Yes, we believe Connolly. Let's see. The traumatic on-air assassination of Oswald by Jack Ruby was ideal stimulus to the postmodern imagination. Making things worse was the narrative unreliability of the official version, the Warren Commission report, an unstable admixture of disclosure and cover-up. As Todd Gitlin has argued, the more corrupt the public language, the more people want the luxury of suspending disbelief. For all our postmodern sensibilities, our everyday cynicism, we want to believe that there remains a truth that hasn't been retouched.
That's the trigger. It's like how like you tap somebody on the knee and their leg will kick whether or not they want it to. Mm-hmm. People do have a truth-seeking like reflex that's very similar, and this is what causes de-dimensionalizations into like MK Ultra narratives, because they know that complexity is increasing, and they also know that there's still an impulse to find truth, and so that people are susceptible to lower dimensional truth narratives. Yeah, and that's it. Oh, we're doing so good tonight.
We're cooking. Yeah, we're also making pretty good time, so we might even end this section tonight. All right. We want to believe. Curiously, no one believes in the truth like a person surrounded by liars. Those who are enraged at Oliver Stone's film JFK for its heavily fictionalized blendings of various assassination theories are missing the point. As Stone is apparently grasped in his blockhead populist way, the JFK killing has been fiction for a long time. It is the creation myth we use to understand the discords of contemporary America, the tale of the fall from grace, for which we keep vainly seeking redemption. If it hadn't happened, we would have had to invent it. But it was on that autumn day in Dallas that postmodernism came here to roost. Dallas seemed like a magic trick, or the culmination of some elaborate practical joke. It traumatized us because we couldn't figure out how it worked. We still feel that if we go through it one more time, will see the concealed wires leading to the book depository window, spot the clown on the grassy knoll, decode the umbrella man's secret message. But it's still the same stale pie in our face all over again. But the turbulent waters of Dallas are only roiled further by Stone's own auteur-like conceit, a manifestation of his narcissistic self-identification as Jim Garrison's real-life double. Over the years, Stone's own self-commentary on JFK has proven voluminous, running every known rhetorical position imaginable, from the pejorative to the self-exculpatory. Here is Stone on the postmodernist nature of history. What is history? Some people say it's a bunch of gossip made up by soldiers who passed it around a campfire. They say such and such happened, they create, they make it bigger, they make it better. I knew guys in combat who made up shit. I'm sure the cowboys did the same. The nature of human beings is that they're exaggerate.
Mhm.
So what is history? Who the fuck knows? Next is Stone on history as trauma. The murder of President Kennedy was a seminal event for me and for millions of Americans. It changed the course of history. It was a crushing blow to our country and millions of people around the world. Put an abrupt end to a period of innocence. Great idealism. Finally, there is Stone as history. Stone on history as myth. Unlike children's fairy tales, myths have always expressed the true inner meaning of human events. Myths are dynamic. They reinterpret history in order to create lasting universal truths. For example, artists for centuries have tackled exactly the same historical and religious stories. It produced a Christ with 1,000 faces. From Griffith to Kubrick, movie makers have operated on the principle that the dramatic force of story transcends the facts. With JFK, we're attempting to film the true inner meaning of the Dallas Labyrinth, a mythical and spiritual dimension of Kennedy's murder, to help us understand why the shots in Dealey Plaza still continue to reverberate in our nightmares.
In our nightmares. In our
nightmares.
reverberate in our nightmares.
Oh my God. Sex Freakman. The boy Giovanni didn't bun summon nah. This happened when mon speak postmodern thing too often. He's translating into Haitian Creole, sir.
I was gonna say I thought it was pigeon, like the
Pigeon.
BC, but then they're like, we didn't know that happened. We didn't know that.
We did know that happened. Yeah. Let's see.
Gio says Tom nap pilled.
For what reason?
I don't know. I don't even know who Tom Knapp is. Let's find out.
For what? Oh, he was a shotgun shooter. Yep.
Oh yeah.
American.
He looks like non-diabetes Wilford Brimley.
Amazing. Shotgun sports in general, to circle back a little bit, shotgun sports in general are super fucking cool because the people, the ages at which people can compete are the broadest of any like Olympic sport.
Yeah.
So there are people.
You ever watch that?
It's shocking. It's just like each of them, like everyone who medals, it's just like, who fucks up first?
Well, because they shoot all the gauges. Well, they oh man, esoteric shotgun lore. We're going way out in left field tonight. Esoteric. So like there used to be more gauges, but the way the gauges, the modern sort of, because like for famously 16 gauge shotgun was the American standard. It still is in the parts of the Midwest. This is great for pheasant. But the game, like the game cycles through the 12, 20, 28 and 410 bore, and it always goes down to how people shoot their 410.
The Olympic shotgun stuff is crazy because so you have people who are like teenagers competing with people who are 60, and they'll just go toe to toe.
Not much in between though. It tends to fall. It's a weird, strange distribution. Also, like
it's like Americans, Italians, and Turks too.
The countries, the countries are strange. Like the Turks are huge in it.
Yeah. You got to kill the roaches somehow. Let's see here. Where were they? The personal trauma undergone by Stone. Sorry. Gio says Tom Knapp had a deal with Benelli. He shilled all their lines of shotguns and broke records with them. Okay, cool. Yeah. Did not know he was a spokesman. I casually follow this stuff. I would not say that I'm a true shotgun sports connoisseur, but I do like to I like to go out and shoot double trap. So
we should do that one. We should do a live show one time and like
live show exactly between sets of double trap.
Yeah.
We're gonna shoot down them UFOs.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them. What the hell is that?
This is my other brand. My brand before Ecologica Americana was Esoterica Americana.
Nice.
We catch them all.
The personal trauma undergone by Stonewall in Vietnam is self-servingly repeated by Jim Garrison in a scene that was deleted from the theatrical release.
Damn.
Jim, just think. What happened to our country, to the world because of that murder? Vietnam, racial conflict, breakdown of law, drugs, thought control, assassination, secret government, fear of the frontier. Of those, fear of the frontier, probably the most catastrophic for the American psyche, if true. I'm not certain I agree, but by this time it should be obvious to even the most casual viewer that JFK actually works as a cinematically splendid act of gossip, both in high and low places. Stone, like Morris, classically mixes fragmentary truths into the narrative structure of the epic, resulting in the hyperinflation of crypto documentary reality. Now, represented as an untrue truth, we are attempting to film the true inner meaning of the Dallas Labyrinth that fortuitously is identical with myth, the mythical and spiritual dimension of Kennedy's murder. This reaches its epitome or epiphany in Jim Garrison's seemingly interminable summation of the jury of the Clay Shaw trial. Not only is this one of the longest monologues in the history of film, it is also marred by the plummeting or bullet-like nature of Kevin Costner's delivery. Wow. The president was murdered by a conspiracy planned in advance at the highest levels of the United States government.
I don't know if I agree with that. I actually think Kevin Costner did a great job.
Plummeting nature.
Yeah, this is like people
need to remember
cheap. They're taking cheap shots. Like, I mean, this is like
cheap shots at Kevin.
I mean, the reason it's self-defeating to go after the acting here, because the plummeting delivery, it like actually mimics the unhinged nature. Because I mean, essentially what happens is this Kevin Costner figure, Jim Garrison, who is crazy, by the way. Remember, we've talked about him. I told you he was crazy. He was crazy. He gets up and starts spinning this narrative that, I mean, the heroic action of the film JFK is like, can one person grok all of this and then transmute it into objective language? And like, as he starts to lose it, that's as the delivery plummets. And so like, the actor fails along with his character. It's beautiful, actually. Sorry.
No, I forgive you. I forgive you.
Fuck you. I'll wait for you in the parking lot.
Eric Wilson.
Yeah.
I love Kevin Costner.
I do. I do love Kevin Costner.
Sign my tit, Kevin.
I hit him in the face with beads at Mardi Gras one time, but you
hit him in the face with bees?
Yeah, with beads. BEADS.
Bees.
Like, yeah. It's like, it's a sign of affection at Mardi Gras, but like we're in the same fraternity. There's all kinds of cool connections. I'm a Kevin Costner stan.
Nice.
Yeah, we need the Gio Benelli sponsorship. By the way, that would
amazing.
That would be incredible.
Remember to shop Benelli. It's like I can't say what they make on YouTube for YouTube purposes.
We need syndicated Gio as a combination Tom Knapp and Bob Ross.
Oh my god. Gio, you just haven't found your content stride yet. You just have to talk about your theory selling while you paint a picture and then sell it.
Literally.
Oh my God! Actually, holy shit,
I know.
Gio, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do.
It's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
This is a great idea. This is a fucking great idea. All right, so you need to just talk about theory selling while you paint a picture, and then you sell the picture. Just sell the picture. Just like, this is the screen that I painted it on, dude. Fucking do that, Gio. Do that. I'll straight up buy one. Fucking swear to God. Like that is the sickest way to do it. Obviously, you're gonna have to make some quick ones.
You're doing well. I don't know. You can break it up over 3 or 4 sessions. This is building in public. It's an incredible idea.
Yeah,
we just got you rich as fuck. Oh, you can sign me as your agent, by the way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just give me 2 points on all your sales, and it's fine. Yep. All right. Let's see here. Where were we? Oh yeah. Jim Garrison. The president was murdered by a conspiracy planned in advance at the highest levels of the United States government, carried out by fanatical and disciplined cold warriors in the Pentagon and CIA's covert operation apparatus, among them Clay Shaw before you. It was a public execution. It's covered up by like-minded individuals in the Dallas Police Department, the Secret Service, the FBI, and the White House, all the way up to and including J. Edgar Hoover and Lyndon Johnson, whom I consider to be accomplices after the fact. According to Stone, contradictions are the nature of reality. In his discussion of JFK over the years, he has made occasional reference to Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece, Rashomon. That supremely artful presentation of 4 inherently incompatible but equally persuasive accounts of a single event, a murder. What Stone seems to have forgotten is that a film narrative such as Kurosawa's requires the unmediated juxtaposition of conflicting narratives and antagonistic voices of the diverse witnesses, precisely what JFK fails to provide. Instead, JFK is Aletheia, the detective story, the uncovering of a concealed truth, which, like the infamous magic bullet, remains inexplicably pristine. Stone's self-proclaimed and mass-marketed filmic capture and faithful reproduction of the inner meaning of Dallas is, through his bombastic cinematic vehicle, irreversibly transformed into spectacle, and, quite suitable for Stone's own purposes, the moral panic of the journalistic establishment, whether they were following CIA directives or not, because they were circulated as part of the media event, passively collude with that selfsame spectacle, tantamount to a form of disinformation. But perhaps the greatest artistic giveaway of JFK is the one narrative technique that has drawn the most ire, not only of media pundits, but of conspiracy researchers. The hyperinflation of the size and scope and complexity of the conspiratorial machinery. On one hand, the density of the evil plot or the vast breadth of grotesque landscape is simply a byproduct of naive realism. The cover-up has been so extensive the now unconcealed truth must be of commensurate magnitude. Footnote on that. Curiously, Stone's technique of cinematic hyperinflation ironically parallels Jim Garrison's judicial one. Some of his staff became alarmed about his behavior. He would call meetings and then disappear into the men's room for a while, emerge with a new theory, and send aides to try to prove it. Amazing. What a badass. Oh my God. Love him. I want to know more about Jim Garrison. Thank you for enlightening us a little bit about him, Sandbatch, but the man deserves a full bio.
No, he does. He's an interesting character. And because if you remember, the way I introduced him was being this. He's actually this incredibly pivotal figure in the history of New Orleans. Because he
needs a Robert Caro power broker style.
There probably has been one. Let me look.
Fucking doubt it.
Let's see. No, I mean, are there full bios of Jim Garrison? I'm almost, because I mean there's almost certainly an LSU Press one. Are there any Scholastic ones?
it just gave me information about him.
Gio says, tried an episode or two called Painting Discourse. Maybe I bring it back. You just got, you know what you got to do, Gio? You got to copy the entire Bob Ross setup. You got to have like black drop cloth, soft lighting.
The only thing I would say is that your production there is important, but the only thing I would warn you is that that's the kind of thing that appeals to me. So you're on skinny ground. But there are scholastic. There's in 2020 there's Jim Garrison's, and this is the oh shit, one of my you should have read this out. One of my professors wrote it, but Jim Garrison's Gendered Vice Campaign in New Orleans, Race, Sexuality, and the 60s Reform Agenda. Then there's The Demon in Jim Garrison by Max Holland. And then there's The Homophobic Background to Jim Garrison's JFK Case. And I have read, I've read that one actually. So yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's there. It's totally there. Don't like, there's this is like, yeah.
Let's see. Where the fuck did I leave off here?
What's interesting is all of his papers are at the National Archives. They're not here. They're not in the city archives.
How many have been lost? Who knows?
Yeah. Probably fewer than if the city ran it, to be honest.
More perniciously, the bogus erudition displayed by the director is nothing more than a calculated sensory bombardment designed to blot out any realization in the mind of the audience that Stone is nothing more than the huckster purveyor of conspiracy gossip.
No, they should be reading my heavily cited books. They should be reading my footnotes.
DeBoard appreciated very well the underhanded intent of information overload. There is a contradiction between the mass information collected on a growing number of individuals and the time and intelligence available to analyze it, not to mention its actual interest.
What Eric Wilson did a Morrissey there. Some girls are bigger than others because some subjectivity. Some
girls are bigger than others.
Yes, some biblios are bigger
than
others. Some
girls' mothers are bigger than other girls' mothers. Yes. Footnote on that one, perhaps Stone's key error is that he conflates phase 1 of JFK Dallas with phase 2. We assume that the killers were also the liars, then conspiratorial overload necessarily results. At times, Stone even appears to be partially conscious of his own onanistic gamesmanship.
Wow.
Hey, bro, we're all subject to a little onanistic gamesmanship.
He sounds like every one of my ex-girlfriends.
Sandbatch, your problem is your onanistic gamesmanship.
Let's see if there's.
If you want to be the champion of jacking it, then you gotta practice every day,
dude.
This may explain the sin of Onan.
The sin of Onan.
Yes, you've allowed your seed to hit the dusty ground. In my email search, the word onanism comes up a startling number of times. Most of them from j'accuse. 1,826 results. Onanism. At times, Stone even appears to be partially conscious of his own onanistic gamesmanship. This may explain his decision to mercifully cut the scene of Jim Garrison being interviewed on the Jerry Johnson Show, a thinly fictionalized restaging of Garrison's notorious interview with Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show, January 31st, 1968. Johnson: first, we had your charge that the Cuban elites killed the president, and then the mob. Then you said the oil billionaires. Then you said the Minutemen and the Ku Klux Klan collaborated to do it. Now, with your latest theory, it seems to be the CIA and the FBI and the Pentagon and the White House all combined in some elaborate conspiracy to kill John Kennedy. Let me ask you, is there anyone besides Lee Harvey Oswald who you think didn't conspire to kill the president?
Right.
What we may hold to be disinformation by accident is also clearly present in another deleted scene, where Lyndon Johnson is personally issuing commands to the Dallas Police Department. Director's notes at the Dallas Police Station. Dallas Police Captain Will Fritz takes a call from a high official in Washington. In the background, we notice Lee Oswald continuing to be questioned by federal agents. Hear Johnson's distinctive Texas drawl, but we never see him. Jim, voiceover. No legal counsel is provided, no record made of the long questioning. Howdy there, Captain. Thanks for taking care of us down here in Dallas. Lady Bird and I always be grateful. Thank you, Mr. President. We're doing our best. Captain, I know you're working like a hound dog down there to get this mess wrapped up. I got to tell you, there's too much confusion coming out of Dallas now. TVs and papers full of rumor about conspiracies. 2 gunmen, 2 rifles, Ruskies done it. Cubans done it, that kind of loose talk, scaring the shit out of people, Bubba. This thing could lead us to a war that costs 40 million lives. We got to show you we got this thing under control, no question, no doubt, for the good of the country. You hear me? Yes, sir. Captain, you got your man. Investigation's over, and that's what people want to hear. Author's notes. Call to Captain Fritz. Dallas Police Chief Jesse Curry told the Warren Commission nobody would tell me exactly who it was that was insisting. Just say I got a call from Washington and they want this evidence up there. Insinuated it was someone in higher authority requesting this. Significantly, the first Oswald as communist agent conspiracy theories that began appearing in the Washington Post the morning of November 23rd were all floated by the DRE operating under Phillips's oversight. This was not the DRE's first attempt to manipulate public opinion as part of an effort to incite a U.S. invasion. In late October 1962, the Washington Star printed a headline story, Exiles Tell of Missiles Hidden in Cuban Caves and Refugees Give Location of 7 Camouflage Sites for Rockets, indicating that the Russians had left some nuclear missiles behind in Cuba. The exiles were members of the DRE, and the writer of the article was Jerry O'Leary Jr., a CIA asset and a very close friend of David Phillips. Once more, planting stories in friendly media outlets. Let's see. Oh my God. Sex frequent who up Lyndon they be Johnson. I do be Lady Burden. I do be Lady Burden sometimes. Let's see. KXAS reporter Bob Sirkin claims to have discussed this episode with Captain Fritz himself shortly before Fritz's death. Sirkin asked him to go public with the story, but Fritz declined. It is this disinformation that underlies the central story arc of the film, the transposition of conspiratorial intent from Cuba to Vietnam, which narratively requires the existence of a sublimely vast but wholly invisible clandestine apparatus. Except like, Wilson didn't really have a great explanation for that one either. So, an avowed Kennedy file, we can easily understand Stone's motive in inverting the ambiguous and contested historical record concerning national security, memo 273. The death of JFK as the failure of the Sons of Light in their contest against the demonic aspect of the world symbolized by Vietnam flows seductively into the mythopoetic grandeur that provides JFK with its stunning dramatic power. It is also a remarkably hagiographic way of ennobling Kennedy's gory murder, a ghastly pink cloud of bone, blood, and brains. Being killed for having attempted to preempt the Vietnam War is glorious. Being executed for failing to assassinate Castro merely makes one the patsy of gangsters. This transposition takes place in 3 distinct stages. The first is the announcement of the false flag. A footnote. Another personal anecdote, if I may. My first thought after exiting the theater in Hollywood that was showing JFK in December 1991 was that Stone should have done a straight adaptation of DeLillo's Libra. In fact, it appears that Stone successfully campaigned to stop the production of such a film, telling the assigned director, Phil Jeannot, that my films are more cinematic than yours. Wow, fucking dickhead. Stopped DeLillo from getting residuals on a film. Come on. Come on. My boy DeLillo got to get that payday. You got to get that paper.
Oh, sorry, not in the Talmudic network.
Not in the it's just an Italian boy. He's just an Italian guy trying to make trying to get his bones, trying to get his bones Linden. Let's gotta enhance the virtuosity of his onanistic gamesmanship. Flashback to David Ferry's apartment. Hold on.
That's the phrase that snapped me out of something.
Ferry, played by Joe Pesci.
Don't want to snap me back to David Ferry's apartment. That is like I cannot.
You're getting molested, Sandbatch.
I cannot imagine many worse places to be. You know,
David Ferry's apartment. Imagine the smell.
Yeah.
Ferry, played by Joe Pesci. It won't be long. Mark my words. That fucker will get what's coming to him. It can be blamed on Castro, and the whole country will want to invade Cuba. We got to do is get Kennedy out in the open. That was a terrible Pesci. That was awful.
He's a hard one.
He's pretty easy. I just am not prepared for it. The second is when the false flag is inverted. This takes place in a scene between FBI agent Frank Wayne Tippett and Garrison investigator Bill Broussard. Frank, look, we know Oswald didn't pull that trigger. Castro did. But what comes out, there's going to be a war, boy. Millions of people are going to die. That's a hell of a lot more important than Jim Garrison. God damn it, look at me when I talk to you. You're too goddamn self-opinionated now. Shut up. If you got a brain in your thick skull of yours, so you listen to me. You listen real hard. The third, the uncovering of Vietnam as truth, occurs in two separate scenes with Colonel X, Donald Sutherland, who is supposed to be Colonel Fletcher Prouty. In the original screenplay, this scene, the narrative crux of the film, was divided into two parts. The first half at the exact midpoint, the second half serving as the conclusion, and which also delivered the big payoff by revealing the identity of the mastermind of Dealey Plaza, General Y. Edward G. Lansdale, the nominal head of Operation Mongoose, which was actually being run by Robert Kennedy. Colonel X Part 1. X. That's the real question, isn't it? Why? The how's just the scenery for the suckers. Oswald, Ruby, Cuba, Mafia. Keeps people guessing like a parlor game. But it prevents them from asking the most important question. Why? Why was Kennedy killed? Who benefited? Who has the power to cover it up? Colonel X Part 2. X. I think it started in the wind. Money, arms, big oil, Pentagon people, contractors, bankers, politicians like LBJ were committed to a war in Southeast Asia as early as 1961. They knew Kennedy was going to change things. He was not going to war in Southeast Asia. Note, in the original screenplay, the following scene was the end of the film. In the theatrical release, it was moved towards the middle of Garrison's summation to the jury. A director's note. Flashback to White House, 1963. Johnson sits across the shadowed room with U.S. Ambassador to Vietnam, Henry Cabot Lodge, and others. His Texas drawl rises and falls. He signs something unseen, national security action memorandum, something like that, 273. Johnson to Tom Howard and John William Galt. Gentlemen, I want you to know I'm not going to let Vietnam go the way Cuba did. I'm personally committed. I'm not going to take one soldier out there till they know we mean business in Asia. You just get me elected and I'll give you your damn war. X voiceover. And that was the day Vietnam started. Cut to the documentary footage of U.S. Marines arriving in full force on the beaches of Da Nang. March 8, 1965, another era begins and our movie ends. These two scenes, when combined with the deleted Johnson scene, yield Stone's most brazen conceit. All of the speculation concerning Cuba and the false flag is itself a higher form of disinformation, skillfully manipulated by the conspirators of both Phase 1 and Phase 2 to disguise Vietnam as the true purpose of JFK Dallas that much more effectively. So effectively, in fact, as to be virtually untraceable within the historical record. But the worst is yet to come. Just before the final credits, this dedication. Dedicated to the young, in whose spirit the search for truth marches on. As Jim Garrison says elsewhere in the film, about as subtle as a cockroach crawling across a white rug.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Very unsportsmanlike, onanistic gamesmanship from Sex Freakman.
But all the way, I found Catherine D using onanism. I found Curtis Yarvin using onanism.
Dude, it's the best way to say jacking it.
Everybody's saying onanism.
It's a biblical reference to jacking it.
Yeah. And my ex-girlfriend, hers is too personal. I'm not going to read it.
She said onanism?
Oh, she was frequently call me onanistic and among other things.
She should have just called you Onan. That should have been your.
It's been done.
You've been called Onan. That's been like a pet name.
Yeah. No, it was not a pet name.
Come here,
I guess it was a pet. It depends on
my
how
little
loosely.
Onanini.
Depending on how loosely you interpret pet,
Like an abused pet, what's his name? That brown kid.
Yeah.
That guy's dog. Yeah. Topical from 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So I think we should probably call the.
Oh shit! We're out of time.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left, but we're like,
yeah,
but
fair.
it starts Watergate. It starts the discussion of all the president's men.
Yeah.
So I don't want to start all the president's men with 10 minutes left.
Right.
So, which is a better movie than JFK. All the President's Men is great. Total.
Haven't you not seen
bullshit.
JFK?
What?
Haven't you not seen JFK?
No, I watched JFK two weeks ago.
Oh, okay. What'd you think
I had not seen it when
Yeah, what'd you think of it? Oh, is that why you got more interested in Garrison?
A little bit, but also like just the, I just kind of feel like some fucking like Maverick DA causing such a stir is kind of a badass story,
It's true.
Also because he was a maniac, but Sex Freakman says, damn, this one flew by. Still very gay overall, but fun. It's the
allegations there, Sex Freakman.
That's your 4-star review of Fire Island. Yeah.
Dude, Anna Krivolopoulos sent me a 4-star review of Incurable Graphomania today, and it was a strangely incredible review.
What was it?
Let me see. I can't remember if she texted it to me or if she did it this way. But if she
was it like an Amazon review?
Yeah, it's an Amazon review. Where is it? Oh yeah, she definitely texted it to me, but I can find it real quick. It's gonna be the freshest one probably. Listen to this.
That's funny because I'm reading the names of the people in the Amazon reviews. There's one from Adam Luz Rhine Specs. Electrically imaginative yet suspiciously autobiographical, prints itself in the mind and remains there. He gave a blurb. He gave a blurb as the review.
You can tell. He is who he is. He is of his people. Maybe it was a Goodreads review. I don't know. Oh, I know it was a 4-star one. No, I can't find it. It was so good though, because it made several factually untrue claims about the book, but they were you could tell he'd read it, and he was doing it like there's like this question in the review whether or not the review is a trap itself, and then there's it's 4 stars.
Wait, the review is a trap?
The review does nothing but open up questions that like lead one to want to read the book, but it does so in a way that's determined not to make sense. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. That is power. That is power, is it not? All right. Well then, I think we will call it Sandbatch. What do you have coming up?
I'm
actually
setting 6 days from now, November 9th, to get a link up for everybody. And then I'm going to publish these 2 books, and then I'm going to have to de-dimensionalize for a little bit, because I'm I hate announcing my plans as far like it's like Babe Ruth calling your shot. You got to hit it. But I'm trying to move to California, so I'm gonna be busy.
Weren't you moving to Spain to run with the Bulls? Didn't you convert to Catholicism?
That one I've never. Well, Catholicism never sticks. I try, and it doesn't stick. I mean, I'm just like Sex Friedman was like that's the most enlightened Protestant shit I've ever heard. Yeah, that's me. It's like it's actually me. I can't change it. Oh no, I was never intent. I would like to visit Spain. But I mean, I've really just been looking for ways out of Louisiana because I don't want to. I mean, it's great, but I don't want to be here. And I mean, really, one of the sub threads of me going out to Los Angeles was like, well, this is the last fucking place I haven't checked, so let's have a look. And like,
perhaps my search for happiness is in fact found geographically rather than based on some sort of a internal journey.
No.
I've tried everywhere other than Los Angeles, so I might as well knock that off.
Oh my God, you make it sound so bad. But no, I mean, like really, like everybody who knows me, like you need to get out of New Orleans. Like it's not the geographical. It's not. Oh, I'm not discounting the hero's journey or anything like that. But it's like no, like for like health reasons, among other things, like get the hell out.
Yes. Well, Journey to the West.
Right
to the West.
It's an incredible Southern writer trope, by the way.
It's Southern Chinese writer.
Like it's in all the King's Men. I mean, like William Faulkner did. It's like one of the phases of a Southern writer is there's like you have to go out to California.
Oh, okay. Not just Journey to the West. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, I guess you will all hear from me on Wednesday for Drive Time Movie Night, which I host with Micah Pohl on X and Rumble. You can also find me on the other show on Tookie's Mag channel, the Sidebar Podcast. We are going to be covering Jack Norman's short story collection.
When I release my book, can I come on?
We don't really do those.
What do you do?
We don't really do like author interviews.
Oh, okay. I thought you did.
No, like basically never.
I remember I never listened to content.
Yeah. True fan of the channel. True fan of the channel. Not detected.
Look, man. I just work here.
It's like wow, you don't constantly eat the pizza from Pizza Hut. You work here.
Yeah. I don't listen to content. I don't, and I especially don't listen to content with people that I know really well because it gets weird. I'm schizo enough to like I'll be sitting here listening and I like if you're talking and I don't like stuff that you say, I'll out loud I'll just start talking to you.
Why aren't you talking back? Oh, this is a recording. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, fans of the show, here's a secret. If you have weird parasocial attachments, just start making content of your own. And if it's good enough, you just become friends with all the people. Yeah, you could have done that at some point, but it's fine.
You just need super chats. Yeah, we'll talk to y'all later.
We didn't even ask for him. That was our problem.
We were on fire today. That's what happened.
We were on fire. We got lazy. Anyway, all right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
You're discouraged from questioning and thinking critically. You must accept the word of the leaders. They make you feel guilty if you do question or argue. Your environment is often controlled, cutting you off from friends, family, school, previously held beliefs. They want you to become dependent, provide a poor diet, poor health care, little sleep, and long, exhausting hours of work to make you physically weak and lower your ability to think clearly. Subtly, your self-confidence gets undermined, and your self-image or sense of identity is changed. The leaders control channels of communication. They cut off or put down outside sources of information. Then they bombard you with what they want you to think. They use strong peer pressure, playing on your desire to be loved and accepted. The leaders may promise rewards if you obey them and punishment if you don't. But they alternate harshness and leniency in order to confuse you. The leaders manipulate language, giving special meanings to words that only insiders understand. This is to make you feel like you're part of a special, important, or elite group, and that outsiders are inferior, dangerous, or doomed. You have to confess your shortcomings, mistakes, or misbehavior, sometimes even if these things never really happened. And meanwhile, your time and activities are tightly controlled. You don't have much privacy or energy or time to think because you're too busy doing monotonous, repetitive tasks. The leaders try to control you and even your sexuality, everything about you. They want to exploit you for their own enrichment, their own power or grandiosity. If they succeed, you will declare your loyalty unto its leaders, rejecting your old values and way of life. Without realizing it, you will have been changed into a person who is being controlled by a totalist cult.